And a happy Black Friday to all of you wonderful people out here. If you are out shopping, I told you yesterday, we are your shopping buddy. Listen, if you're Black Friday shopping, you may be standing in line. If you're at a place like Target, you could be in line for the entire length of today's episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So why not be with us? Why not laugh? Why not maybe gain some information, have some good conversation, and have some fun while you're standing in line and all these people are complaining and freaking out and their kids are yelling and you're looking at your phone laughing, giggling. And they say, why are you having a good time? They said, because I don't go to Black Friday without Wake Up Call. What are you, nuts? So happy to be here with you.
Good.
Happy to have a good time. Papa Joe is with me this morning because yesterday was Turkey Day. So he had the day off and I had the day off. But we both made our picks. And congratulations, world, because if you went against my picks and Papa Joe's picks, you won some money on Thanksgiving. So we will talk about what's going on here inside these Great Lakes Honda City studios. Plenty of great stuff coming up here on Black Friday. And I'm so happy to be spending it with you and with Papa Joe. So Great Lakes Honda City Studios, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Find Great Lakes Honda City. They have great end-of-the-year sales. You could find out more by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. We're up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So however you're connected with the show, we thank you for being with us. And like I said, Papa Joe is with us in the first part of the show talking about college football playoff rankings, the fourth rankings of this year. We'll look at the bracket and how everything's shaken out as we head into rivalry week, which I'm very excited about. And the Navy midshipmen took down Memphis, which means for the second year in a row, they will have at least 9 wins for the midshipmen. We'll get into NCAA college football, our week 13 picks. We'll make our picks for rivalry week here in week 14. And of course, we'll take a look at NFL week 12 and we'll make our picks for NFL week 13. Then to round out the show, the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. Lead, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero. Learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. Today's topic is lead or ship. We'll talk about that. And the top dog of the week, proudly presented by K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. So with all that being said, we got the man of the hour on the broadcast. He's hanging out here with us. You know him as Papa Joe, sometimes Go-So, sometimes Papa Joe. But today he's the BFGOSO. Do you know what that means, folks? Well, I told you you are with us while you're shopping. So he's the Black Friday grand old smooth one.
Black Friday,
yes.
Sure.
He's the BFGOSO. PJ, how we doing?
Good. It's cold down here. I'm still drinking my coffee. It's 46 degrees down here.
Yeah. Well, it's snowing up here. The weather is gross. My mom goes, I hope you don't have to go anywhere today. And of course, today I got to go to like 4 places. So happy to be here with you, PJ. Happy Thanksgiving. I know we talked yesterday and I talked to MT. So, but I hope y'all are doing well. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. And of course, happy Thanksgiving once again.
We did have fun. I had a lot of fun. We had some elderly people here yesterday, friends of ours. They don't get to celebrate much with families because they're not around. Yeah. And of course, we had we met Diana's brother yesterday.
Yeah.
For the first time, and he doesn't get around much with us, but he was nice guy. Now he's going to hang out with us for a while from now on. Yeah. So he's another Russian guy. So we had fun, ate a lot. God darn. Yeah. So I ate a lot. We ate everything. Nothing left over. What's our empty? Few peas, right?
Yeah.
Few peas. Some pork.
And I ate them while I was cleaning up. Which I love eating.
I put 4 pieces of pork fillet on my grill and indirect cooked them, Daniel, for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And they were absolutely succulent. Great.
Yeah, I mean, I got to make, and I'm happy that you guys had a great time. I, unlike you, have plenty of leftovers. So I have a ton of leftovers. I did it on purpose so that I could have something to eat all the way until the moment that I come and see you and MT in just a little while here when I get my butt down to Florida. So I'm very excited to have the leftovers that I have. The turkey was fantastic, and I'm very, very, very pleased with the turkey. Love the seasoning. Did something a little bit different this year, and it worked out. The stuffing, great, and I got a ton of that. And I made 2 trays of sweet potatoes because I do it in honor of my G-Mama, and so I made it for her. So I have a ton of them, which I'm excited about because I can live on sweet potatoes. And I made my rigot pie that you can't really buy anywhere. Made my pumpkin pie. Made those a day early so they were cold when they came out. The colder they are, the better they taste. My new broccoli, egg, and cheese casserole-ish thing that I made was made with the spices that PJ and MT got me for my birthday. So I spiced it up and put some new flavor in my food. And yeah, so it was great. My mom brought over the Italian wedding soup with the homemade meatballs. And my dad brought over the antipasto with the fresh cut provolone and salami. And then we had bread from Lincourt Bakery. So your boy is going to be eating turkey sandwiches for the next umpteen days. I'm gonna be looking like a turkey, but no, hopefully not. But because I run it off. But yeah, I'll be having a lot of turkey.
Here's a little sidelight for you.
Yeah.
MT does not like turkey. She likes turkey, but she doesn't like to cook it or bake it.
Yeah.
And she won't let me put it on the grill because she had a bad turkey. Well, a couple years ago, MT, she won't make Thanksgiving anymore. So we have to have different meals. So
yeah, MT,
each his own.
She told me that. She said, I'm not happy with the turkeys. And my turkey came out good, MT, so I might have to smuggle you a couple pieces, bring them down, and let you try what this turkey tastes like. But no, I mean, the food was really good, and I got no complaints. But I'll be packing myself sandwiches since the Dome doesn't cook for the media anymore like they used to. I'm probably going to be bagging up my lunch and bringing sandwiches to different events. Basically, PJ, over the next 5 days, if you check my pocket, there's probably a turkey sandwich or a sweet potato in there. So with that being said, we're going to take a look at the college football playoff and how things are shaping out to be right now. PJ, I want to say something while you're on screen with me. Okay. Now you get people that obviously disagree with you and they have different thoughts and whatnot, but I want to present to you this thought because I don't think there's any logic to it. But, and the person's probably a Notre Dame fan. But I want to, and again, I love Notre Dame. I love Notre Dame. I love talking to Marcus Freeman. I love that they stand on faith. I love that Jesus is front and center there. There's so many great things about Notre Dame. When it comes to who they've played, though. So, PJ, conversation, I put up a post about Notre Dame. Guy responded to it. Notre Dame's 9-2. Miami's 9-2. Same record. Miami beat them head-to-head. The guy responded, I'm so sick and tired of that excuse. It's the only excuse you have. I think having the same record and beating a team head-to-head is the easiest reason to put in Miami over Notre Dame. But there's people out there, and I've kind of heard the media talk about it too, of like, at what point does this not matter? It should always matter. It's the easiest tiebreaker. So I want to get your thoughts of if somebody came up to you in the Publix grocery store and said, PJ, Notre Dame's 9-2, Miami's 9-2. Miami beat them head-to-head, but Notre Dame should get in over them.
No, that's faulty logic right there. But then again, I bash Notre Dame every week. You do sort of like in your own way. They just don't play the kind of schedules that the other conferences do, and they're not even in a conference. I say this, I know people are going to get pissed at me, and Papa James, tired of you talking. Come down south and play the SEC schedule and see how tough you'd be.
Yeah,
that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, play Alabama's schedule. That's what that's a schedule that I don't think anybody would want to play on purpose. But we will see as these teams look to get in.
There's still 5 teams that are eligible, maybe 6 teams that go to the playoff. So people, you tell me who's right or wrong.
Yeah, and I would argue that same thing. We're living in a world of 5 or 6 SEC schools. There could be 7 if Texas beats Texas A&M and hands them their first loss of the season, we could be looking at 7 potential SEC schools, which would take up all but one of the at-large places. So with that being said, PJ and I here and talking on the broadcast, I don't know, it says DT and Murphy. That's my fault here. It's supposed to say DT and Papa Joe. Shout out to Brendan Murphy, though, who's with me every single Monday. Pardon me on that. Just caught that. So, PJ, let's jump into it. Let's take a look at the rankings here, how things shape out. So, there's stuff that hasn't changed, right? Ohio State, Indiana, Texas Tech, as long as they win, it doesn't seem like they're going to move off of these. Maybe they'll move off of them depending on who wins the championship games. Obviously, maybe if Indiana loses the championship game, they'll drop down a little bit. If Texas A&M was to play in it and win it, maybe they move up a little bit. But Georgia at 4, okay, Georgia's got 1 loss. It's just Alabama. Texas Tech and Oregon being ranked above Ole Miss, I severely disagree with. I know the committee likes the Big 12. I don't like the Big 12 over Ole Miss. And I don't like Oregon over Ole Miss because they played a weak schedule this year. They've only played like maybe one good game as far as quad 1 or quad 2. And then you look at Oklahoma. To me, Oklahoma should be up here. Oklahoma should be right behind Georgia. They beat Alabama, right? But they have more losses than Georgia, even though Georgia lost to Alabama. So then, now, if Oklahoma beat Alabama and Georgia lost to Alabama and they were both a 1-loss team, then Oklahoma should go above them because common opponent and same record. But Oklahoma has more losses. Now, Alabama, to me, should go up here too and be right behind them. Not because I love the SEC, but I actually do my homework on college football, and if you think Oklahoma and Alabama are not as good as Oregon, you need to go watch film again or go look at the schedules again and figure this thing out.
Right.
So Notre Dame being above Alabama, that's a laughable thing. Notre Dame did not play a third of the schedule that Alabama played. And then BYU being over Miami, I disagree with this. BYU's got a bunch. I mean, their best win is over Utah. They knock Miami and say Miami has 2 bad losses. They lost to SMU and they lost to Louisville. Well, Louisville had a good season. Louisville's done some good things. Louisville's been ranked numerous times. And in my opinion, Louisville's not a bad team. Later on in the season, they were in the top 4, top 5, fighting for the opportunity to get in the ACC championship. SMU, if they play their cards right and everything works out, they'll play in the SEC or the ACC, championship. So Miami losing to an ACC championship title caliber team, that's not a bad loss by any stretch of the imagination. Utah being above Vanderbilt is a joke to me. But again, this is them looking at the Big 12 over the SEC. Vanderbilt has been a really tough team. You look at Vanderbilt's losses, they've lost to Alabama and I believe Texas. And so you look at who they're losing to, or maybe it was Oklahoma, but you look at who they're losing to, and you say, okay, those are 2 of the best teams in the country. Michigan has played nobody except for Oklahoma, and they lost to Oklahoma by 11. So Michigan barely beat Purdue, who's terrible. They barely beat Northwestern, who's like middle of the road. So the fact that Michigan is up this high, I'll tell you why they're up this high. Michigan is all the way up here in the rankings in the top 20, so that when Ohio State beats them, they can say that Ohio State has 2 good wins, Michigan and Texas, instead of 1, when in reality, they only have 1. Because if you beat Michigan, you beat a tier 2 team, a quad 2 team at best, because Michigan's played a real crap schedule this year. Big surprise. But the fact that they're above Texas is a joke. Texas beat Oklahoma. Michigan lost to Oklahoma. So, and Michigan doesn't have any quality wins. They have no ranked wins. They have nothing to write home about. They don't have a single quad 1 or quad 2 victory, and Texas definitely does. So that makes no sense. USC's there because they're in the Big Ten. Then Virginia gets some love. Tennessee should not be in this thing anymore. Tennessee should have been out of the top 25 2 weeks ago. Arizona State, I can understand them putting them here because they want to make other teams in the Big Ten look good. And Arizona State's not a bad team. But you think that Arizona State is below SMU that brought Baylor to double overtime in the first game of the season for them? The Mustangs going there 48-45 in that matchup, and they didn't even have all of their starters healthy for that game. And then you look at what they've done and the havoc that they have wreaked inside of the ACC. They've been in the ACC for almost it'll be a full 2 years this weekend that they've been in the ACC. They have not lost more than one ACC game. If they win this weekend, they will have one loss in 16 ACC regular season games. Why they're below Arizona State, beyond me. They're above Pittsburgh. I'm actually surprised that Pittsburgh stayed where they stayed here. Georgia Tech has fallen out of favor, rightly so. They haven't performed well. And then Tulane, you can't buy a bucket for anybody outside of the Power Four conferences, where Tulane's the only one in here. North Texas should be in here. There's other teams that can argue their case. Navy definitely should be looked at. They just beat Memphis. And then you have Arizona of the Big 12, which I don't understand this. So, PJ, I'd love to get your thoughts on the top 25. What do you agree and or disagree with?
Well, I agree with most everything you say. They're hoping that Michigan beats Ohio State this weekend, because that'll give them another excuse to put another Big Ten team in the top 12. So, they're still trying. They're grasping at straws here. They're trying to figure out how they can keep out the SEC teams, and they're trying to figure out how they can move the Big Ten teams in. And the only way to do that is to, on rivalry Saturday or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever, and to try to win. And I don't see the logic in that. But if you're talking about multi-million-dollar universities here that are playing for the big bucks, you want 12 of the best, and they're probably going to wind up with 12 of the best. I don't think we're going to agree with them, but the problem I have is that they're trying to set this up to get the Big Ten to compete with the SEC. That's what they're trying to do. Now, if the SEC gets 6, maybe even 7 teams in the 12, how can they deny the SEC that? Or if the SEC falls out a little bit, maybe Vanderbilt loses or Texas loses, that'll be 5 teams. And then Michigan pops in there with maybe a close game against Ohio State, or maybe even beats them. They'll probably have 3 or 4 teams in. So, at the beginning of the year, we always thought that it was 4 SEC and 4 Big Ten, and everyone else jumped through straws. That's the way it's going to look, and it's embarrassing because you're not using logic. You bring up good value on their schedules, and we say this all the time, folks. And don't get pissed off at me. You just have to understand how the college football views the SEC and the Big Ten. They want the 2 best conferences to play head to head, and the only way to do that is to have them equate in the big dance. What we got. So don't be surprised if you see another Big Ten team squeeze in there. If Michigan beats Ohio State, which they won't. Ohio State's a juggernaut, believe me. I like the way it's going. I think that probably they're going to come to the consensus, Daniel. When Saturday is all done, and Sunday morning we're trying to read the paper or trying to read the computer screens about what's happening, and I think that's. I think we're going to see. I think your situation is the best. I think that. And what I don't like. This is what I don't like. I don't like that they got Alabama and Ole Miss up against each other in the first round. I don't think that's right at all. If you're going to do that, then you got to do the other conference the same way. You see, Oregon is playing Miami, Texas A&M, Indiana. At least you got some conferences battling each other. But to have Alabama up against Ole Miss, 2 of the most exciting teams in the country, battle each other, doesn't make any sense to me. Texas Tech, I don't know if they actually belong with these people. Tulane, God bless them, they're going to lose their coach. And North Texas, we talked about them, they already lost their coach.
Yeah.
So a lot more things are happening in college football this week because of the timetable with the Lance Kiffin deal. I'm so tired of it, Daniel. I'm so tired of listening to it. Seems like every hour on the hour down here in the papers and in the internets, they're always talking about what's Lane Kiffin going to do? What's he going to do? What's he going to do? First of all, he's got to beat Mississippi State. If he doesn't do that, he leaves. In my opinion, if he beats Mississippi State easy, there's a good chance that Mississippi could be a bye in the first round. They're that good.
Yeah.
Now, if they don't beat Mississippi State, then they're in the playoffs, but he's gone. That's my opinion. I think that it all hinges on what type of game that they're going to play against Mississippi State, and I think that he's got his team playing well.
Yeah.
He's playing with a Division II quarterback that is getting a chance to shine. Great looking player. But I'm going to be watching that game. I want to see just how fired up Mississippi's going to be coming off the ball. If they you always heard me say this, if they win the line of scrimmage, they win the game. So there we are.
Yeah, we're in a place right now where I'm taking a look at some of these things here, and I'm just, some of these coaching moves, and you brought up some stuff, potential moves that are happening. You've stood out adamantly about coaches getting fired during the season because you feel like it's a detriment to the team. There's no good that can come from it. So let me ask you another thing. What about coaches leaving during the season? What about a coach who is currently in their season and says to their team, I'm going to take a job somewhere next year, but I'm going to leave now? Because I'd love to get your thoughts. It's a two-layered question. The first layer is, what do you think about coaches leaving their team during the season instead of after the season? And then secondly, what do you think about the coaches like Eric Morris of North Texas and potentially Lane Kiffin of Ole Miss leaving their teams in a season where they could make the college football playoff?
Well, that's a good point. Now, certainly North Texas is not in the same caliber as Ole Miss, but
they're in a place where they could make it.
True, that's right. I looked for Ole Miss. Ole Miss is the key here, and Lane Kiffin's the key here. I hate to have to keep bringing that up, but it's if you're down here reading all the journals and stuff, that's all they talk about. Now, the last thing I heard last night before I went to bed is that Florida is out of the running for Lane Kiffin. Florida's not interested in Lane Kiffin anymore. That's what I heard. Instead, they're interested in Jed Fish of Washington, who was graduated from the University of Florida, also got his master's from there, and worked for Urban Meyer. So it seems like there's a conduit for that to go. As of right now, what I hear and read down here is that Florida is off the list of Lane Kiffin. That doesn't mean LSU is, but Florida is.
Yeah, and it's looking at this and kind of where we stand with all this, and I'll give my thoughts here of what I asked you. I don't think that leaving a team during the season, I mean, again, when you get fired during the season, it can affect a lot of things. If it's a bad coach, if it's a bad atmosphere, maybe it gets better. Look at Penn State with Terry. I mean, they seem to be doing well with him. They like playing with him. They win a game over Nebraska at home, and they have signs that say, hire Terry. But then there's other situations where it doesn't work out. And I think in the case of North Texas, I think they're getting punished by the committee. I think being almost undefeated, only having one loss this season, and potentially playing for an American championship, which would be their first, the fact that Eric Morris isn't the head coach anymore and he's going to Oklahoma State, that might be why they're not in the rankings. Because the committee might be looking at this going, well, you don't have your head coach anymore, so how are you going to win? So this could be a punishment to North Texas. But here's my thing with Eric Morris or with anybody. I'm not trying to witch hunt Eric Morris. I'm just making an example of this specific situation. It could be anybody that's doing this. But why would you leave the team that believed in you, that wasn't good, that was nowhere in the national spotlight, that you helped put in the national spotlight, that you can play for a championship in your conference for the first time ever for the American, that you could win that, and that you could go to the college football playoff? Why would you leave until you've seen that through? So, I mean, to me, PJ, I struggle with looking at the Eric Morris situation and finding anything that makes sense. That Oklahoma State, like, what are you going to do? You can't go there and coach now. You can't go there and do anything now. Well, we want to get ready for recruiting. That's fine. But why would you leave a team? Like, we're not talking about a bad team and a bad team. We're not talking about Oklahoma State's terrible and North Texas is terrible and you're just moving to what you think is a better position. You're leaving a ship that is almost to shore to go to a ship that's sinking. Why would you not see what was on the shore before you go to the sinking ship?
That's true. And you've heard me say this before several times, is that I don't agree with schools deep sixing their coaches before the end of the season. You're right. That doesn't make any sense at all. I think the young man, Mr. Morris, has probably made a bad judgment there. He's got a real good North Texas team. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure about this, but I think that North Texas leads the nation in total offense per game. I think it's over 500 yards. So, and he's going to sit in his office in Oklahoma State and figure out how many kids he's going to steal from North Texas to join him in Oklahoma State. I don't agree with that. I think you're right in saying that. I think Mr. Morris probably should have waited to the end of the year.
Yeah.
And he's probably thinking, look, we're little old North Texas. They're not going to mess with me. They're not going to give me anything. All of a sudden, here we are in the last weekend. There could be some moving around here, and he's going to be out of luck. And I think the position that Kiffin is in, he's going to look bad no matter what he does. If he leaves after the Egg Bowl and says, I'm coming to Florida, he leaves this good, really good Ole Miss team behind.
Yeah.
Some executive, some assistant coach to take them to the playoff.
Yeah.
Not only Lane Kiffin's a little bit of a dirtbag too. You got to remember that he's got history about him. He's not a very nice guy when it comes to this kind of stuff. Knowing Lane Kiffin the way I do, is that what he would do is that he would take the Florida job, and no sooner than he would get in the office, if he start calling up his kids and saying, "I want you to come to Florida. I want you to come to Florida." And he'll probably steal half the lineup. So he's not in a good position, and I think he's going to be looked on unfavorably by most everyone that's knowledgeable with football. He doesn't have maybe it's not his fault because so many people are writing about this, but he's not going to look good in any way he does it. If he wants to stay, he should have said that, a month ago. Yeah. When Ole Miss is kicking everyone's ass, I want to run the string here. I want to play with my kids.
Right. Why would you want to leave though? Why would you want to leave if you're Lane Kiffin? Ole Miss is on the map again. Ole Miss is relevant again. Ole Miss is doing well again. I'm sure you're recruiting well. I'm sure you got a lot of guys who want to come into the program. You've elevated yourself to this place. Why would you want to leave? Especially when you have an opportunity to be in the college football playoff. Now, we got some news checking in here because I like to fact check myself and not just other people, folks. I think we should all do that in today's world. So, me being upset about a coach leaving and abandoning a team, in Eric Morris's case, he's going to stay. So, Eric Morris is actually going to remain with the Mean Green for the rest of the regular season, as well as any potential appearances in the American Conference title game and the college football playoff. So he is not going to Oklahoma State until the season is over, which I respect and I appreciate for Eric Morris. And I am thankful for that. I'm thankful that he chose to do that and that North Texas chose to do that. Now the question with players knowing that your coach is leaving and knowing that your coach essentially is preparing you, but also potentially having to prepare for Oklahoma State at the same time, who has the opposite record of the Mean Green. The Mean Green are 10-1, Oklahoma State's 1-10. So he's there, which is good. And I commend that. So, I can't sit here and knock him because he is going to stay. But when we look at how a team responds to it, Are his players going to want to play when they know that he's leaving no matter what? Are his players going to want to play for North Texas if they intend to go with him to Oklahoma State? Would he tell any of the players, hey, why don't you guys sit out, or I'll put you on the injury, whatever. Why don't you guys sit out because I'm going to need you next year? Does he not play somebody who could potentially take this year as a redshirt year? Does he not put that guy out here so that he can use them next year? So he is staying, but the question becomes, how bought in is a team who knows their head coach is leaving if you're like a freshman or a sophomore? And is he going to have a bunch of people jump into the portal before the American Championship if they were to play in it, or before the college football playoff? As much as he's there as the coach, which I love, will his players be there too now that they know that he's going? So go ahead, what were you going to say?
I mean, we know it, and the nation will know it too. Once these coaches move from place to place, now with the transfer portal, these kids are going to follow. One good thing that Lance Kiffin does is he raids the transfer portal. He has over 25 kids every year that come with him. I'm pretty sure that that's a pretty round number. And that's not going to be any different if he comes to Florida or LSU. These schools that have lost their coaches are hurt. And I think that it's important to say that because Oxford is not like a Florida or Baton Rouge. They don't have that kind of money. Maybe they're trying to get that kind of money. But Ole Miss is not in the same class as Florida or LSU. Kiffin knows if he goes to one of these schools, he's going to get a lot of transfer kids, probably some of his own, and he's going to get a hotbed of recruiting, which he loves to do. So he's sitting good, but he's not sitting good. I think that the portrayal of him around the country is not favorable to begin with. What happened at Southern Cal and the rest of his nonsense when he was much younger. I remember him when he was offensive coordinator for Nick Saban, and Nick Saban's chewing his ass up one side and down the other because they can't move the ball. Yeah. And Kiffin is just spinning his wheels and trying to get something going. They wound up winning the game, but that he's a handful, and I think whoever gets him is going to get a hell of a coach, but he may not even leave. I mean, the thing for him to do, to save face, if he believes that Oxford's going to get some money, is that, all right, listen, I this is what I've done. This is where I might be going. This is where these people want to give me. You can give me something. Give me around $10 million a year to stay, and I'll stay for another 5 years at Oxford. Now, do you believe him or not?
Yeah,
probably not. But he may say that. He may say that. Look, I got a good thing going here. I don't want my kids to leave me, and I'll be working the transfer portal again to bring the best athletes forward. And where does that leave Florida? Florida and LSU out in the lurch. LSU's biggest. They got a guy right there in the state that they could use. The kid from Tulane. I mean, I don't know what he's still waiting for Kiffin the other foot to fall, and I don't like that. I think that's just not being. It's not looked upon favorably. I don't think so. And I follow it pretty good. I don't, and I followed Kiffin for a long time. Actually, when he was working for his father, it was Monty Kiffin, who was a great defensive coordinator. Look at Kiffin is not going to look good no matter what he does.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. And you bring up a great point, PJ. Because he's waited so long, now you may lose some avid Ole Miss fans. You may lose some of these student athletes. They may think that with the right offer, you're going to go. That you're so. See, the thing is, if the longer this takes, the more people might think, because their perception is their reality, as opposed to their reality being their reality, which I don't like. I like reality to be reality and not just perception, because things aren't always perceived correctly, obviously. But when we look at Lane Kiffin, right, the longer this takes, he may lose some people. He may lose some respect inside of the school. He may lose some respect inside of the leadership. He may lose some trust in the leadership, some trust in the school, some trust with the boosters, because they may be thinking, okay, if he's this close, then when the next offer comes up, when it's a little bit more money, when maybe it's a different place, or maybe this school comes back to him in a few years and adds a couple dollars to it, or gives him a few more Cheez-Its or Ho-Hos or whatever he'd like, that maybe he's going to leave. But this is my perception, and like I said, it may not be reality. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. When I think of Lane Kiffin, I don't think that looking at history of Lane Kiffin, I don't think that there's loyalty anywhere. I think Lane is always looking for the next thing from what I see. But I don't know what you think.
That's right. And if he doesn't, he's going to be a handful for whoever it is. I don't know what other way to say it. I wish him luck. I hope he's thought this through, his family through it. I know his kid plays football for high school in Oxford, so does he want to move his family? I don't know. He's a reformed alcoholic, sort of like. He said he gave up drinking. He may have been an alcoholic. I doubt it though, but he looks healthy. I mean, he's sharp. He's a pretty good looking 50-year-old. So, who would not want Lane Kiffin to come coach for you? However, if you take him, you take his baggage.
Yeah. Well, and
I gotta go.
That's the thing. So, with that being said, PJ, we're gonna do our picks, right? We got our picks coming?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll do our picks here. Yeah, we'll take a step aside here for a fast break. When we come back on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, we will make our picks, and we will give our final thoughts on the college football playoff right after this.
Okay.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. You know, we want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to a Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I mean, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. I mean, you can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, you know, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, you know, everyone in the world's going to sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, you know, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place. And I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. A delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing, you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Kaz location and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point because you get a little something different at each one. You know, we understand how hard it is to, you know, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
Back here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Will be out at Myers Creek tomorrow, folks. That's right. Saturday, November 29th. You can hang out with us for our final Wake Up Call Game Day Live. And that's going to be on site, on location at the Myers Creek location in Syracuse, in the Syracuse Inner Harbor. 720 Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse, New York. This Saturday, November 29th, for the final Syracuse football home game of the season and final game of their season. Isaac Elford and myself, Dan Tortora, a.k.a. DT, will be on site, on location at Myers Creek at noon Eastern time this Saturday. The game kicks off at 3 o'clock in the Dome. We're going to be having lunch with you at noon. So we'll see you at noon this Saturday, November 29th. We'll discuss a lot of things. We'll laugh. We'll have fun. We'll have a little extended Thanksgiving with our extended family of Syracuse and Central and Upstate New York. And then we'll all go to the game. So make sure you come out and see us at Myers Creek this Saturday at noon for the final Wake Up Call Game Day Live of the Syracuse football season here in 2025. With that being said, PJ and I got to take one more look at the college football playoff here. And this is the field, PJ. So if it were to happen today, and obviously a lot of this can change with rivalry week and with who becomes the champion in the American, the ACC, the SEC, the Big 12, the Big 10. So I think the Sun Belt's out of it this year because the American has had a ton of ranked teams and they've been able to fight against each other and really make it awesome. I mean, Navy's been good. Memphis has been good. Tulane's been good, as well as East Carolina. North Texas has been good. Temple's had a pretty good year under Casey Keeler. So when we take a look at this, we have this first matchup, Tulane and Texas Tech, PJ. If it were to happen today, I actually like this. If the Big 12 goes up against the American, as opposed to the American having to go up against the SEC, they might be able to move to the second round. What are your thoughts if Tulane gets to be in this thing?
There won't be any defense played in that game. Both these guys can run up and down the field. Be a fun game to watch. It'll be probably something like a 49-42 game or 42-35, something like that. There'll be a lot of points scored.
What about the next one that we would see in the first round? Oklahoma and Notre Dame. Notre Dame would be playing away from home in Oklahoma. If Notre Dame were to make it, which, again, I think a bunch of teams have to lose. I think the SEC has to have a doomsday scenario for this to happen, but what are your thoughts on Oklahoma, Notre Dame?
Well, I think Oklahoma's got the kind of team that can push around Notre Dame. Notre Dame always comes in with a good offense. They got a hell of a running back, I know that. Be up to Oklahoma to stop that kid. I like Oklahoma in the game. I think it'll be a low-scoring affair. I think Mateen has probably come back into what he was playing earlier in the year. I know he was hurt. He could run the ball. He can throw the ball. He can do a lot of things. I like Oklahoma. Matter of fact, there may be some separation there between Oklahoma and Notre Dame. I think you're going to find Oklahoma the better team here.
Yeah, and then if we were to
Don't yell at me, folks. Don't yell at me.
Listen, I told a Notre Dame fan, if y'all get in, I think there's a good shot that if you get in, you can win games and you can make it potentially far in the... I'm not saying Notre Dame can't win games in the college football playoff. I was with them when they were playing in the championship last year. Again, Riley Leonard, somebody that I consider a friend. Again, love talking with the staff, love talking with the players, love being around Notre Dame, love the pageantry and all that. We're talking about this specific season. Should they be in above other teams? Because remember, they don't play in a conference. They can't have a conference championship. So when the SEC has 5, 6, 7 good teams, if they're better than Notre Dame, you got to put them in. And it's, you know what I mean? It's not a knock. It's not a personal vendetta. It's not an attack. This is what people think nowadays. If you don't agree with them, then it's personal. And that's not the case. You didn't vote for who I voted for. Now it's personal. Now I hate you. That's ridiculous. It's not personal. It's an idea. It's a thought. My hometown is Syracuse, New York, and I think they're one of the worst football teams in the country. So, you know what I mean? So it's like when Notre Dame fans come at me, like, listen, I had Syracuse losing by 40. So did PJ. And before I watched the game, I said, I think Notre Dame's going to score 70 points in the game. And what did they score? They scored 70 points. So Notre Dame fans, please understand, I picked you against my hometown. So there's no personal anything going on here. I promise you that. But let's take a look at Miami and Oregon. They really want to get Miami in, PJ. The committee wanted them in last year. They had them above SMU. SMU was better than them in the conference, above them in the conference, and it took them 4 weeks just to put SMU above Miami. Now they want to put Miami in again. I'll tell you this. If you put in Notre Dame, you have to put in Miami. And you have to make them a better seed than Notre Dame because they beat them head-to-head. So if they got the same record at the end of the season, who's Notre Dame's best win? Pittsburgh. Who's
Right.
Miami play this weekend? Pittsburgh. So if they both beat Pitt and Miami beat you head-to-head and y'all got the same record, then if you in, we all in. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
So Miami and Oregon, PJ, I don't think Oregon's played a tough schedule. I do like Oregon. I don't think they've played a really tough schedule, and I got to be fair because I say it about Indiana, and Indiana's played a better schedule than Oregon, and Indiana beat them head-to-head. So Oregon, Miami, this is a game of two teams that may or should or should not be in, but if they were, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think you're going to watch two of the best quarterbacks in the country. Of course, we've seen Carson Beck down here for Georgia, and this kid Moore from Oregon. This is another game that maybe the defense has to take a little break here because both of these guys can score a lot of points. Although Carson Beck isn't near as tough as he was with Georgia last year. I think you got to give the nod to Miami mainly because Oregon just didn't play the kind of schedule that would allow them to be number 6, which is way high. So that's where it is with that.
Yeah, and I want to make a note here too, college football wise. talk about coaches knowing that they're going to be somewhere else. UConn is the other independent school, the only independent school besides Notre Dame in FBS football. And Jim Mora has decided to leave UConn for Colorado State. But I get to vote in the Biletnikoff Award, and his receiver, Skylar Bell, of UConn, is a finalist for that Biletnikoff Award to be the nation's top receiver. So just want to shout out Skylar. Let's look at this one, PJ. This is one you didn't agree with. If the Lane train has to play Fly Slamma Jamma Bama, and Lane's got to go up against the team that he used to be under as an assistant of Nick Saban, and this game would be played in Mississippi and not in Alabama. So, and I don't agree with that either, because Alabama has had a hell of a season. They have played arguably the toughest or the top 2-3 toughest schedules in the entire country. Ole Miss has played an easier schedule. So, PJ, if we see an SEC first round bout between Ole Miss and Alabama, should it be played in Alabama or should it be played in Mississippi is question one. And then what do you think?
No, this isn't fair, period. I got to state that unequivocally right off the bat. This is not fair to put these two teams up against each other in the first round. You know, there's several other ways they could have done this. I think Ole Miss is probably number 6, not number 7, and Alabama maybe 8 or 9, and not number 10. There has to be some movement over here. Let's hope that whatever happens this weekend will change this quite the equation here, because I don't like these two playing each other this early. In saying that, Alabama's defense will probably win this game against Ole Miss.
Yeah, I would pick Alabama. And then here's the thing, though. If they play each other, then Indiana doesn't have to worry about both of them. Ohio State doesn't have to worry about both of them. So what are your thoughts on the top 4? Now, we know, PJ, that the college football playoff, right, they changed to 12 teams from 4 last year. And in that historical season of being a 12-team playoff, which will never happen twice, right? That's the move from 4 to 12 will only happen once. I got to be a part of every round. I want to thank the college football playoff. I want to thank Penn State for the first round and hosting me and the rest of the media there for SMU and Penn State. I want to thank the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl for the quarterfinal. I want to thank the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic for the semifinal. I want to thank Atlanta, Georgia, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and everybody there in Peach Bowl Inc., and everyone involved with the College Football Playoff National Championship. This year, I hope to do the same thing, which is be a part of every single round, be all the way to the championship, which this year is in Miami, Florida. So very much looking forward to that. But they made a change, PJ, and the change is that in the 12-team playoff, they said they're going to take 5. The 5 automatic bids are the 5 highest-ranked conference champions, and then 7 at large, right? Which was supposed to be 6 and 6 when the Pac-12 was still the Pac-12. But then they make it the 5-7 rule, and then they said 4 of the 5 automatic bids are going to be the top 4 seeds. Well, then they looked at it last year and they said, well, the top 4 seeds that had a bye weren't the 4 best teams. So now they've changed it. So you don't have to be a conference champion to be a top 4 seed. You have to be what the committee considers the 4 best teams in the country coming out of your championship games, or in the case of Notre Dame, sitting and watching. So, but Notre Dame can't, I don't think Notre Dame can, well, no, maybe now they can be, but before it was they couldn't be any higher than 5. So what are your thoughts on this, PJ, that right now it's Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Georgia. We're no longer doing conference champions as the 4 bye week teams. We're looking at the 4 best teams that the committee believes are in the country. Agree or disagree with this? Should the teams that are getting a bye through the first round into the quarterfinals be conference champions, or do you like that it's the 4 highest ranked?
I think the conference championships, this is what they wanted to do to begin with, to get more teams involved. And certainly you'd have to give credence to that. This one, you know, the college football committee, they're not dolts. I mean, they're intelligent men, and they're trying to reason this thing out.
Yeah.
But it all has to do with the competition between the Big Ten and the SEC. That's all this is ever going to be about. And the only reason they got this now is because that there are teams in the Big Ten that can compete with the SEC. So forget about the conference championships. I mean, your little USA champion won't be able to fit in here. It's not fair. But that's the way it's going to be. I don't care how they move things around. They're always going to. It's always going to come down to. We'll probably say this at the end of next week. It's always going to come down to the two big conferences. The two big conferences have got a chance to put 9 of the 12 teams in here. 9, maybe 8. But that's the way the cookie crumbles, and that's what the committee wants to do. I guess they want to just forsake giving the little guys a chance, which I don't agree with. I think Tulane can play with a lot of guys. So could SMU and these other teams. Miami, well,
yeah,
who knows?
Well, yeah, and if we look at it right now, to PJ's point, you would imagine Ohio State's going to make it, Indiana's going to make it, Oregon's going to make it, so that's 3 from the Big Ten. Then you look at Texas A&M, you look at Georgia. Even if Texas A&M loses to Texas, they would only have 1 loss, so you can't be punishing. If you're going to punish Texas A&M, then how do you not punish Oregon? So you look at that and you say you got 3 from the Big Ten. Then you have Texas A&M, Georgia, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Alabama, at least from the SEC. So that gives you 5 from the SEC. So then that makes up 8, like PJ said. And then you have to, and then you say, okay, SMU, let's say they win the ACC title game, right? But then let's say Miami beats Pitt. Now you got Miami's argument over Notre Dame, no matter what. Notre Dame's playing Stanford, who's got, 3 wins this year? Or, yeah, 3 wins. Is it 3? 3 or 4? I think it's 3. So they have 3. I think they're 3-8. So then you got those. So that's 10 teams, right? So now you're looking at 12. So then you say Tulane or North Texas or Navy, so the American champion. So then that's 11. So now you have 11. And now the question becomes, do you take Notre Dame? Do you take Vanderbilt? Oh, then, well, no, because you got to take the Big 12 champion. So that's your 12. So then Notre Dame doesn't make it. So essentially what the committee has to figure out is if and when SMU wins the whole thing in the ACC, if that were to happen, the committee's got to figure out if they're going to take Miami or Notre Dame. And if they have the same record and Miami beats Notre Dame's best win, which is Pittsburgh, and they beat Notre Dame head-to-head, then you have to take Miami. So then you leave Notre Dame out, which people will lose their minds and never forgive the committee potentially. But you would have to take them out. And why? Why would we do that, Dan? How could we do that? Because the SEC has 6 teams. 5 or 6 teams that should get in this thing. You want to know what people should be more concerned about? Not if Notre Dame makes it or they don't make it, but if Vanderbilt gets left out and if Texas gets left out. Because Vanderbilt and Texas might be the 2 best teams in the nation that I would pick over Notre Dame. If they get left out of this thing, that's going to be a tough sell to the world. That's going to be a tough sell to the SEC. Why would you leave out Vanderbilt? How could you leave out Texas? Now, if Vanderbilt had won one of those 2 games that they lost, now all of a sudden Vanderbilt moves up over here somewhere, and now it screws up everything. Now you're probably taking one ACC school, so now you're probably not taking Miami if SMU wins this thing. So now you got to sit here and say, am I taking Vanderbilt, am I taking Texas, or am I taking Notre Dame? But again, you can't take Notre Dame if you don't take Miami. So what's really happened in this thing is the SEC is going to get at least 5, if not 6, because if Texas beats Texas A&M, now you're still taking Texas A&M, but now you got to take Texas because Texas beat Oklahoma and Texas beat Texas A&M, one of the 3 undefeated schools left in the country. So then, and then between Ohio State and Indiana, if they play in the Big Ten championship, one of them's going to lose. So let's say it's here. So now you got Ohio State as the only undefeated team in the country. Texas A&M's got a loss. Indiana's got a loss. So now, how far do you drop down Indiana? But you got to put Texas in, which is going to screw up this entire thing. So if that scenario happens, now the ACC is probably on alert that they're only going to get 1 team in. and the Big 12 is only going to get one, I think, no matter what happens. But then what do you do with Notre Dame? Because Ohio State, they get in, but if Indiana takes a loss and they drop down a little bit and Texas Tech drops down a little bit, now you got to shoot Texas over here. And now this could blow up the whole thing. But the reality of it all is, do you think that a Texas team, a Georgia team, an Ohio State team, an Oklahoma team, an Alabama team, when we look at those players, PJ, when we look at Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, if Texas were to win, but let's say Texas loses, but either way, right? If we have Texas A&M, Ohio State, Georgia, Oklahoma, Alabama, or Texas, I mean, are we not talking about, this is half of the field, arguably, of the 12. This is 6, right? So do you really think that these aren't the best teams in the country? Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, Oklahoma, maybe a Texas, or yeah, I think Texas A&M's a little bit weaker, but maybe a Texas. Then you got to think about Ole Miss. I mean, are we not, no matter who gets in or doesn't get in, and people worried about Notre Dame and where's Indiana going to be, at the end of the road, are we not looking at Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, and maybe in Oklahoma or one of the teams from Texas at the end of it all?
I don't think that anyone would want to play Vanderbilt either. So,
yeah,
we can. There's two guys you got to blame for this whole rigmarole. You got to blame Dabo Swinney and you got to blame Mike Norvell, because any other year, those guys and their teams would be in this conversation.
Yeah.
So blame it on Dabo and blame it on Mike.
Yeah. So PJ says if Notre Dame doesn't get in, if Indiana drops, Texas or Vanderbilt don't get in, it's all Dabo Swinney and Mike Norvell's fault. You heard it here on Wake Up Call. And those are the expressed views of Papa Joe. Those are not the expressed views of Dan Tortora Broadcast Media or Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. With that being said, the BFGOSO, the Black Friday grand old smooth one, who is with you while you're shopping right now. We got to make our picks quick so PJ can go about his Black Friday day and me as well. So PJ, let's take a look at this right now. This is what we had for college football week 13. We're going to bring it up, folks, let you know how we did in our picks. I've been tracking the records for PJ and I, so I can tell you where we stand from week to week, and we'll be doing like an overall at the end of the year. At the end of these seasons, we'll take a look at our overall records, but we typically are above 500. I think I was below 500 one time. No, I was below 500 3 times in how many weeks? Almost the entire season here. And PJ was like once 500, once under 500. So yeah, we're on the right side of things the majority of the time so far this season. Let's go back and take a look at how we did in college football week 13. So that first game is Oklahoma that we had winning their matchup, and Oklahoma did exactly that over Mizzou. I don't think Missouri should be in the top 25. They're one of the teams in the SEC that has not done anything to be ranked high. So when people go, oh, Indiana, and you said it, I said the same thing about Missouri. Missouri doesn't play, they didn't really play anybody. They arguably had the easiest schedule in the SEC this year. So that's why I don't have them high. Now, Miami.
They just signed Eli to a multi-million-dollar extension for $10.25 million. So they must think Missouri's doing something right.
Well,
so yeah. Eli's no longer on the market.
Well, you know what? Sometimes when these schools get spooked that the guy might be leaving, like an Eli Drinkwitz, they extend him out. Hopefully it works in the favor of Missouri. I mean, listen, he's put them on the map. They just haven't had a great season to be ranked in the top 20. They've had a better season than Michigan, but arguably. But neither one of them should be in the top 20, Missouri or Michigan. The next one we had here was Miami. Miami taking down Virginia Tech. When I was watching the kind of like highlights of this game, they said Miami had a scare. They won by double the points, 34-17. So there goes Miami with the victory. SM to the mother freaking U. They extended Rhett Lashley, and rightly so. And I got to talk with that gentleman, as I have for many years, And he spoke with me about why it's right to be where he is right now, that his alma mater is Arkansas, and we talked about it. And you should go back and watch the interview because he opened up more than I feel like you hear coaches do. By the grace of God and our relationship and the fact that I would like to think that people trust me when they talk with me and they feel safe, we spoke a lot more about it than what you typically hear a coach say if he's choosing or not choosing a place. So we did get to talk about it, but he said, for right now, this is the right fit. So he didn't leave out that maybe someday, but right now, him and his family are happy in Dallas, and they're happy with what they're building. Well, they beat Louisville 38-6. What did I tell you at the beginning of the season? I said half of the ACC championship may be donned in red. I was talking about SMU or Louisville. SMU beating Louisville puts them in prime position to potentially be one of those two teams in this thing. Then let's look at Oregon that PJ and I had winning their game. Oregon defeats USC. I love how they're like, USC is a team that could make the college football. Stop. Just stop. They lost to Illinois. Stop. So, and of course, why were they ranked top 15 in the country? So that they could say that this was a good win for Oregon. It's an okay win. It's a quad 2 win, but it's not a quad 1 win like they want to make you think that it was by putting them at number 15 for USC. Oregon wins the game. Oregon, one of the only teams that I've seen can have a different quarterback in each of the last 3 years and be nationally relevant. So shout out to them for that. Going from Bo Nix to Dylan Gabriel to Dante Moore. Then we have the Texas-Arkansas game, and PJ went with Texas in this matchup. Texas had to win to stay alive. They won 52-37 in this matchup. I thought Arkansas might try to spoil this thing. They scored almost 40 points, so I'm not hating my pick, but didn't work out. And then Florida and Tennessee. I'm sorry to do this to PJ, but Tennessee wins 31-11. PJ went with Florida. I went with Josh Heupel and the crew. So I got that one right. And then Georgia Tech falls to Pitt 42-28. And Pitt actually helped SMU make way for them here. So there's something to be said about that. And then Notre Dame, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish played Syracuse, and they only won the game by 63. So that gives them the victory. PJ has 2 losses. I have 2 losses. So that's 5 here, 6. So PJ goes 6-2. And I also go 6-2 in just a little different of a way. PJ and I are going to make our picks now for the upcoming, that's the NFL one. We're going to make our picks here for the upcoming week, rivalry week. So we got PJ on this side, and we're going to have myself over on this side. Of course, as you know, DT. So PJ and I both going 6-2. I'm going to make a note of that as we had a nice week in college football pick land. And now we're making picks for rivalry week. So I'll bring it up here, and PJ will go first, and I'll go second. I always defer to the grand old smooth one. So here we go as we take our picks in this one. The Black Friday go-so. Let's see what he's got here. Some games have already been played. There was 2 games played on Tuesday, believe it or not. Western Michigan took down Eastern Michigan. Bowling Green defeated UMass, and because now UMass is a part of the MAC. And last night, Navy defeated Memphis. And you know my relationship on and off the air of many years with Brian Newberry. We were texting like an 11 o'clock at night, Happy Thanksgiving, because their game ended late, but they won the game 28-17. Roll them goats as they took down Memphis. Navy making a case, man. 2-9, at least 9 wins for 2 straight seasons. Last year I was at the Army-Navy game. They took down Army, who had a fantastic season. Army had their best total win season ever last year, and Navy beat them in the Army-Navy game that was played right down the road from D.C. in the stadium of the Washington Commanders. And now Navy's trying to make it happen again. So let's go to the Egg Bowl, PJ. They say after the Egg Bowl, we're going to know. And how about this? They're like, oh, Lane Kiffin's going here. And then they're like, wait, just kidding. You ever realize that? Like, and does anybody do retractions in the media when they start like prognosticating and rumor it? When there's one thing to have a prognostication or a prediction. There's another thing to say, well, this coach is going here. And then all of a sudden, 2 hours later, there's nothing signed, there's no consensus, there's no like definite, just like they said the coach from South Florida, Alex Golish, oh, he's going to Arkansas. And now the conversation is, oh, well, Arkansas wants him. That's a lot different than him going. That's like somebody wants to date somebody, but they didn't even ask him out yet. Or maybe they asked him out, but they didn't say yes. So there's a lot of kind of smoke and mirrors here. And I think some people maybe just want to be first, so they're throwing something out there, hoping that they're right 2 weeks later. We may get an answer from Lane Kiffin after this game. I don't think we should get an answer from Lane Kiffin until after the season, because I think that their team needs to stay focused, just like North Texas, at trying to get in the college football playoff and win in the college football playoff, and not be focused on all this other stuff about next year. What do they say? Don't worry about tomorrow. In the Bible, it says, don't worry about tomorrow. Take care of today. So, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, the Egg Bowl, 2 questions. Who wins, and does Lane Kiffin make a decision after?
Oh, boy. You know, this game should be really closely watched by the nation if you so choose. I don't know how Kiffin is going to fire his guys up. I don't think they need to be fired up. But these are kids. You know, I mean, it could be in the back of their mind, well, hell, if we don't win this game, he's gone. And if we do win this game, he's gone. You know, these are kids, you know, and I just don't, I think you're going to see if they don't dominate the line of scrimmage in the first quarter, he's gone. But Ole Miss should win the game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Ole Miss. Do you think he makes a decision after the game?
I think that's what it's heading down here. And the reason I said earlier that he's no longer under consideration for University of Florida, that's telling me something that two things. One, he's either going to stay there, or 2, he's going to go to LSU because it's more money and a fertile ground for recruiting. I don't know why he wouldn't stay there for Florida, but I think you know, Dan, we're all pundits, you know.
Yeah.
These guys, they like to spin it, and you could read 5 different journalists and 5 different opinions on Lane Kiffin, whether he's going to go or not. So,
yeah,
you know, who knows? But I'm just saying that's what I'm hearing down here. He's no longer part of the equation for Florida, and that leads me to believe he's going to either stay or he's going to go to LSU. So, anyway, he should win the game easily, but I think you really need to look at the line of scrimmage the first couple of series at least.
Yeah, no, and I'll give my thoughts here in a second. Adam said Tulane could hang with Texas Tech, but the Red Raiders get the job done. Oklahoma State beats Notre Dame. Oklahoma beats Notre Dame. Oregon beats Miami. Sends Miami back to South Beach with a loss, and Alabama squeaks by Ole Miss. So Adam going and responding to something we talked about a little bit earlier. So Adam, shout out to you, and looking forward to speaking with you very soon, man. So with seeing this, I'm also going to pick Ole Miss to win the game over Mississippi State. And again, you know, like PJ brought up he said it perfectly. Ole Miss players, if we win, we may lose our coach. If we lose, we may lose our coach. So, I mean, again, this should be considered tampering. Okay? In the NFL, you're not supposed to be allowed to talk to a head coach until after the postseason, right? After things are done. And you have to request permission to speak with a coordinator, which I don't agree with that. No matter what anybody says, we're human beings. So if you're coaching a team, whether you're a coordinator or an assistant or head coach, if you're coaching a team and you get a phone call from another team, you might say, I'm locked in. But if you're talking to another school, are you locked in? Put it to you like this. If I have a girlfriend and another girl calls me that's pretty and sweet and funny and wonderful and we have a lot in common, and I talk to her on the phone, what do you think my girlfriend's going to do? You think she's going to go, oh, babe, that's okay. You're with me for now? And you may be with her.
Your ass is what she's going to do.
She's going to kick my ass. That's what PJ said. She's going to kick my ass. So same rules in college football. If you're talking to somebody on the side, but you're focused on the relationship you have, that's not true. Because as long as you're talking to 2 different places, you got your focus in 2 different places. Next one we have up here, PJ. that I would love to talk about. So we're both going with Ole Miss. The next one we got is Georgia at Georgia Tech. This game is going to be played at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which is the home of the Atlanta Falcons. It's where the season ended last year in the national championship. It's where the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl is always played. It is in these last, few years, obviously. And of course, it is the place where we have the Aflac kickoff games, which I was there for South Carolina, Virginia Tech, as well as Syracuse and Tennessee. Here we are again. Georgia Tech will be down the road from Bobby Dodd Stadium, which is their home stadium. They will be playing Georgia. Last year, they went to 8 overtimes with Carson Beck in Georgia. What happens in this one?
A couple of weeks ago, this was a more important game.
True.
Georgia Tech was rolling.
True.
Haynes Kidd's a hell of a quarterback. They're a ball control team, but they've fallen out of favor in the last couple of weeks. If you stop Haynes Kidd, you stop Georgia Tech. A couple of weeks ago, I said this could be possible, but no, I think that Georgia's defense is going to stop him, mainly because I think that the kid's probably pretty well banged up. I don't know how he can take the punishment that he does, but he throws the ball, runs the ball, but he's going to run into Georgia, and that's not going to be easy to do. So Georgia should win it.
So PJ has Georgia winning this game. I'm also picking Georgia, and I agree with PJ. I think this game held a lot more weight a few weeks ago. I felt like, how Georgia Tech was looking, how they've looked more recently does not bode well for this game against Georgia. They seem to be a very strong team, and maybe they bounce back, and maybe they show something here. Maybe they show us the Georgia Tech that I thought may come out this season and do it. I told you after I heard from Haynes King and their head coach Brent Key, I thought, dang, this team's going to be fired up. They're ready to play Georgia already, and we didn't even start the season yet. And now here we are to this game, but I feel like we've seen a different Georgia Tech over time here, which concerns me a little bit as to what's going to happen. And these games are being played that game is being played today. So here we are on Black Friday. Ole Miss and Mississippi State's going to happen in less than 2 hours here on Friday, November 28th. And Georgia Tech is going to be at 3:30 p.m. So I don't know what you're doing, but I know what I'm watching. So a lot of these rivalry games, the big time ones, are going to be handled today, not even on Saturday. PJ, let's go to Temple at North Texas. Temple is fighting with Casey Keeler. They're fighting as a group led by him to make a bowl game, to get out of the basement of where Temple has been in recent years. If they win, they're 6-6. They've lost to the major players of the American this year. They lost to East Carolina, they lost to Tulane, they lost to Navy. So this would be their first win over the upper echelon. And North Texas, they're playing, but they also know their coach is leaving no matter what they do this year. So what happens with Temple at North Texas?
Well, as I stated earlier, North Texas got the best offensive in the nation. This should be a laugher, really.
Yeah, they've had, I believe, 6 games of 50 points or more, and they lead the nation in
Right.
yards per game. So I'm going to go. PJ's going with North Texas. I'm also going to go with UNT. And, this is sad, though, because I'd love to see Temple make a bowl game, and I really do like speaking with Casey Keeler on and off the air. I like what he stands for. Texas A&M at Texas. This game is either going to blow things up in the college football playoff, or it's going to knock Texas out for good. What do you got, PJ?
This is the game of the week right here. This is definitely the game of the week. Irish Manning, in my opinion, is not the kind of quarterback that he's being leading us to believe. And I don't think he's as good as he was. Although he did throw for over 400 yards, I think, last week. This is Texas. Texas is really going to get in. They're really going to get their ass kicked, Daniel. I think that Texas A&M has a lot to live for, a lot to play for, and they can taste it that they got a shot to play for the national championship. And I don't think Texas is going to stand in their way.
Texas A&M came down from 27 points behind South Carolina. Fantastic comeback of the year. However, why do you have to come back against a team who's not been good this year? So did South Carolina expose Texas A&M despite Texas A&M's win? And Texas, who has gone through this season and played Ohio State in a low-scoring defensive game, 14-7, despite the loss first week of the season, blew out Oklahoma, and Oklahoma beat Alabama, handled Vanderbilt, but got blown out by Georgia. So, Texas, who are you? Will you stand up in Austin? Or will it be Texas A&M that gets the victory? Notre Dame is rubbing their hands together going, come on, Texas A&M, because Notre Dame's getting credit for losing to Texas A&M. So if Texas A&M loses, it makes Notre Dame look bad. If Texas A&M wins, it makes Notre Dame look good. However, Notre Dame still lost to them. I'm going with Texas A&M, but if Texas wins this game, folks, you may see 6 or 7 SEC schools in the college football playoff. Let's go to another one here, PJ. Saturday, we'll start off on Fox with Big Noon. And that game is going to be Ohio State versus the number 15, should be number 35 ranked team in the country, Michigan. What do you got, PJ?
Well, I've said in the show numerous times that I believe in Ohio State this year because of Ryan Day, what he did last year. I mean, the guy's a good coach. I mean, Urban Meyer may be a good coach, but he's no better than Ryan Day. Ryan Day's got it all working. He can have his pick of anyone in the country to come to play for Ohio State. He always has a good quarterback. I mean, he's just a damn fine coach. That's all. And I'll tell you, Michigan, you got no shot in this game, bro. No shot. If you're going to look across the field at that man, you got no shot.
I'm going to say this for the people that know. OHIO, Ohio State, winning this game, staying undefeated, and letting everybody know that Michigan ain't going anywhere this season. Who have they played, folks, to be 15th in the nation? Let me just run it real quick. Let me run it back real quick for the people in the back. Okay? Beat New Mexico unranked. Lost to the only ranked team they played, Oklahoma, 24-13. Beat unranked Central Michigan. Beat unranked Nebraska. Beat unranked Wisconsin. Lost to unranked at the time USC. Beat unranked Washington. Beat unranked Michigan State. Barely beat unranked Purdue. Barely beat unranked Northwestern. Beat unranked Maryland. Now USC's become a better team, but they still lost that game, and they got blown the hell out in that game. So the reality of the reality of the reality is, Michigan, congratulations, because your name's Michigan and you play in the Big Ten and you have the pageantry of your history, you're considered the 15th best team in the country. Not because you are, but they have to make Ohio State look like this is a good win. It's a rivalry game, but there ain't nothing about this game that's going to make me say Wolverine. I'm going Buckeye through and through, because Ohio State backs it up when they're ranked high. Michigan backed it up one time in a year that they were under NCAA investigation. And Jim Harbaugh left, and then after he left, they said, guess what? If you ever come back to college football, we're going to be monitoring you. So
yeah, right.
Feels a little weird, all of that, right? He left at a time where if he stayed, Michigan would have gotten punished with him. I got Ohio State in the matchup. I don't think Michigan historically is a bad team, but I talk year to year. And the only reason they're in the top 15 is no good reason. Ohio State. Next one we got here, PJ. Miami at Pittsburgh. Miami's on the road in Pitt. That Notre Dame victory over them, that's the one that Notre Dame can write about. Notre Dame beat USC, that's a quad 2. They beat Pitt, that's also a quad 2. They have no quad 1 wins. They have 2 quad 1 losses, one of them being to Miami. Miami lost to SMU, who may play for an ACC title, and lost to a Louisville team that's been a hell of a lot better than some other teams that Notre Dame has played this year, and a lot better than the team that Notre Dame will play this week in Stanford. So if you're going to knock Miami's loss to Louisville, let's talk about Notre Dame's schedule in general. So Miami at Pitt, who wins this?
Miami's got a lot to play for, and I think they realize that. Coach Cristobal is going to have his boys up and ready to go. Carson Beck will be flinging that ball all over the place. Pittsburgh, good season. Will probably go to a mid-major bowl somewhere, but they can't beat Miami heads up.
Girl, I'm in South Beach, Miami. I'm going with Miami in this one to win this game. I like Pitt. I like what the Doozer does in Pittsburgh. Pat Narduzzi has had one not great year in the last decade. What did I say after he had a not great season recently? I said, he'll bounce back. He's the Dooz. That's what he does. And listen, Pittsburgh's played for 2 ACC championship games, and they've won one of them. Syracuse has not been in the ACC championship. Now, a few years ago, they would have been in 2018 had there been no divisions because they had a better record than Pittsburgh. But I digress. Pitt's put together a good team. Miami knows what they're playing for. Carson Beck was supposed to play for a championship last year, but he got hurt in the SEC championship game. He knows what that feels like, and they're going to win this game for Beck and the crew, and they're going to go on to, in my opinion, play in the college football playoff, even though they will not play for a championship in the ACC. By the way, if Pittsburgh wins this game, they got a shot at going to the ACC championship. Let's go to the next one here. P to the Jizzle, J. Edgar. Clemson at South Carolina. This game is against 2 unranked teams. Clemson is going to their 17th postseason game in 17 seasons of having a head coach named Dabo Swinney. He has never not played in the postseason. He has never not, well, I should say he's never not coached in the postseason. Being the head coach in 2009. The man went to 4 national championships in 5 years in the college football playoff. He won half of those 2. He won 2 of the 4. So he's got 2 national titles, been there 4 out of 5 years. He's won the ACC title many, many times, including a string of numerous years from 2015 and a bunch of years within that. They won it last year. They've been counted out. They're going to a bowl game no matter what. Clemson at South Carolina. What do you got?
I think that Lenora Cedros is probably going to play one of the better games that he can play this year. And I think that he can do that against Clemson. Clemson just doesn't look like the same Dabo team. This Klubnik kid, he's all right. I mean, I just don't think that they're playing with the kind of fire that Dabo's used to. So I'm looking for the upset here. I'm looking for South Carolina.
3-game winning streak, but Clemson got a lot of help from Louisville that missed 2 field goals and an extra point in that game at Louisville that they won 20-19. PJ going with South Kakalaki. I'm going to go on the other side of it, and I'm going with the Clemson Tigers to continue their streak, make it 4 games in a row, and go in with some heat to the postseason. Although I respect Lenora Sellers, got to know him before he even went to college and got to talk with him at the beginning of the season at the Aflac kickoff game. So, Lenoris, you know I got love for you. The next one we got up here, PJ, this game should knock Tennessee. Tennessee should be out of this thing already. I don't know why they're in the top 25 anymore, but Tennessee is at home against Vanderbilt. If Vanderbilt wins over, how about this? If you're going to treat Ohio State's win over Michigan as a big-time win, then if Vanderbilt beats Tennessee, who's also in the top 20 at 19, that shouldn't be, just like Michigan shouldn't be in the top 20, if Tennessee succumbs to Vanderbilt, then this would be another quality win based on the rankings you have that I don't necessarily agree with. But Vanderbilt is on the road. Vanderbilt's had a good season. Do the Vanderbilt Commodores look at the College Football Playoff Committee and go, how about now? Now? How about now? What do you think, PJ?
Tennessee's win over Florida last week was just it wasn't a quality win, that's for sure. And it was at the Swamp too. And I just looked at the Florida team that was barely going through the motions. And I think that hurts Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee, they won easily eventually. But this is a different team that Vanderbilt brings to the table. You know, for years, Vandy used to be the redheaded stepchild in the SEC. Not anymore. And this is a good indication of how good they are. Because if they are this good, they'll be in the playoffs, and they will be.
Yeah, I think Vanderbilt's going to tell the committee, I don't know why you're talking about Miami and Notre Dame. You should be talking about us. I got Vanderbilt winning this game. Clark Lee, shout out to him, former Syracuse linebackers coach under Scott Schaefer. Scott Schaefer had a bunch of people working under him that have gone on to have a ton of success. Multiple coaches under Scott Schaefer at Syracuse have become head coaches in college football. And once again, firing Scott Schaefer 3 years in was a mistake, Syracuse. And you don't believe me? Look at his coaching tree. Let's go to the next one here. So I got Vanderbilt in the game. We got just a couple more before we jump off to the NFL, PJ. Virginia's playing for a lot here. Virginia is trying to get to the ACC title game. Nobody's really talking about Virginia anymore. The quarterback that they have came from North Texas, Chandler Morris. And Virginia lost a game by one possession in their 2-loss season when they lost their quarterback against Wake Forest, who's really darn good this year. People need to start giving Wake some credit. They're 8-3, got a better record than a lot of teams in the Big Ten. So let's take a look at this one for Virginia. If they beat Virginia Tech at home, then it looks like Virginia is going to be half of the ACC championship game. What do you got?
I think Virginia. I think that they're for real this year, and I think they played some really good teams and played well in those good teams. So I like Virginia here.
Yeah, I like Virginia in this game as well. Again, a team that people have forgotten and kind of just pushed down the rankings here because they're not giving the ACC the credit they deserve. But I do like Virginia, and I will say that the committee put a bunch of ACC teams in the top 25 for the college football rankings this week because you have to. Because how can you argue that the teams that make it to the ACC title game shouldn't have been somewhere in the rankings and you're going to all of a sudden put them in after? No, they put them in now. I agree with it, but I think that SMU should probably be higher, definitely higher than Tennessee. So final note, SMU will play California on the road here. We got this one and one more. SMU beats Cal. It looks like SMU might be going to back-to-back ACC championship games in their first 2 years in the conference since leaving the American.
SMU playing for a lot, and they deserve this. They should win this game easy.
PJ going with Shmoo. So I'm going with SMU as well. Hey, PJ, guess what? Syracuse is hosting Boston College. Whoever loses this game is the worst team in the ACC. Whoever wins this game is the second worst team in the ACC by record. So if Syracuse succumbs to Boston College will have their only ACC win in 8 tries this season. If Syracuse beats Boston College will stay the worst team in the conference. Syracuse has 1 conference win. BC has none. Does BC get their first, or does Syracuse end a losing streak that feels like it started back in 2001? Syracuse has not won a game without Steve Angeli as their quarterback. They were 3-1 when he left. Since then, they've been 0-7. Do they make it 0-8, or do they win their last game at home with tickets as low as $3?
Oh, that's terrible. Daniel, that's embarrassing. No, they can't win this game. I mean, playing Notre Dame, really, they didn't show up. I don't blame them. But they can't win. They can't beat UMass, for crying out loud, let alone Boston College.
It's sad, but as I told people, BC's going to come in here and they're not going to play like they have nothing to play for. They're not going to play like they had a bad season. They're not going to play like, who cares? They do care. This is a rivalry game. And Boston College beat Syracuse last year when Syracuse went 10-3. So Boston College said, last year when you were good, we took that butt. Now we're coming to your home. We're going to take it again. I got Boston College and Billy O'Brien getting the victory in Syracuse, because this Syracuse team has shown me that the leadership is not there at the top. I don't know where it is, where it's gone, if it was there completely. When you win, folks, it's easy to look like you have leadership. When things are going good, it's easy to think certain things that may not exist. But when things get rough, when the going gets tough, you show what you're made of. And what I've seen so far, and I love these players, I don't see leadership. I don't see the leadership on the field. I don't see the leadership coming from the coaching staff right now. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm concerned of what the transfer portal could look like, of what's leaving Syracuse. I'm concerned what the transfer portal might look like with the coaches that may leave Syracuse. There's one coach in particular that I'm very concerned may leave Syracuse, and I wouldn't knock him if he did. So I'm going with Boston College in this game because they're going to punch Syracuse in the mouth. And the way that Syracuse has played these last bunch of weeks, I don't know if Syracuse gets punched in the mouth, if they're going to care to punch back. I would like to believe they will, but I don't know if it's going to happen. PJ and I are going to jump right into the NFL now so that we can get into the annoying moment of the week as well as lead and the top dog of the week. So let's take a look at NFL picks that PJ and I had this past week, and we'll see how we did, and then we'll jump and make our picks for the NFL in week 13. So we go back to the schedule of week 12, and PJ we'll go down the line here. Buffalo succumbed to Houston. Houston's been looking better. Buffalo and Detroit have just completely, I think they've surprised a lot of people. So we got that one wrong. Chicago took down Pittsburgh at home. New England defeated Cincinnati. So Chicago we got right. We got New England right as well. Without Joe Burrow, they did not beat the New England Patriots, who are the best team in the AFC, and they don't have Bill Belichick or Tom Brady. How about it? Taking a look at Detroit Rock City, though, they did defeat the Giants, but it took them overtime to do it. Yuck. 34-27. They win that game with Jameis Winston doing trick plays. Winston caught a touchdown pass. PJ had his Winston jersey on. He was eating crab legs, dipping them in butter, cheering on his guy. PJ, what do you think about Jameis Winston doing a trick play and lining up as a receiver and catching a touchdown?
He doesn't know how to spell trick play.
PJ loves him so much. But we'll take a look at Green Bay here. MT, if she's in an earshot here, they win. We both picked Green Bay over Minnesota. They won 23-6. Seattle defeated Tennessee 30-24 in a good game for Tennessee, but Tennessee has been one of the worst teams in the country this year, if not the worst team in the country. Kansas City takes down Indianapolis in overtime 23-20. PJ got that one right. I had to take an L on that one, but it was a good game between the two. We take a look at Baltimore and the Jets. Baltimore wins that game over the Jets, who are also one of the worst teams in the nation. We take a look at the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Rocks, they took down the Raiders. Took them down 24-10 on the road. Cleveland isn't a great team, but Vegas is worse. So that's why you picked Cleveland in that game. We did. Jacksonville took down Arizona in overtime. They won that game. I said, listen, Jacksonville's won some good games against good teams. They've lost some bad games against not great teams. So will they trip up again? They didn't, but it took overtime. Jacksonville gets the victory. We both picked the Jaguars on the road. Dallas takes down Philadelphia. How about it? Dallas in 4 days' time has taken down the two teams that played in last year's Super Bowl, Philly and Kansas City. Dallas beats them back-to-back. Dallas is now 500, 6-1, and they have a chance of making the playoffs potentially. How about that as Kansas City takes an L this week? And Philly took an L last week, both at the hands of Dallas. Atlanta defeats New Orleans. Atlanta and New Orleans, both not great teams this year, but we got that one wrong with New Orleans. And then the Rams beat Tampa in the Baker Mayfield Bowl. The team he was on beat the team that he's currently on. And then San Fran took down Carolina on Monday Night Foosball. So taking a look at this, PJ goes 4-1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-1, 9-2, 9-3, 10, 11. PJ goes 11-3 this past week. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait, how did this work out? I went 10-4. Oh, no, that's right. I went 10-4. PJ went 11-3. Some good stuff happening here as we had ourselves a nice week, 11-3 and 10-4. I'll take either one of those records in NFL play. Let's go to our picks before we let PJ go. And so we'll go PJ on this side as we always do. We'll defer to PJ first, and I will make my pick after PJ as we go down the line here. And so PJ and I making our picks, everyone playing in week 13. Let's get through this quick. PJ picked Detroit, Kansas City, and Baltimore. I picked Detroit, Kansas City, and Baltimore. And PJ and I had a great Thanksgiving with family and also went 0-3 on the day. So let's see if we're starting off 0-3, which is great. Let's see if we can bounce back with the Black Friday game being played today, as well as the games on Sunday and Monday Night Football that will start December off when the Giants play New England in a rematch of the Super Bowl, where David Tyree put that football on the back of his helmet and held on for dear life, and the Giants and Eli Manning got that dub and won the Super Bowl over Tom Brady and the crew. So, and David Tyree, where'd he play college ball? Syracuse, baby. So let's go to this one, PJ. Black Friday, Chicago at Philly. Chicago's looking nice. Philly just lost to Dallas. What do you got?
Philly didn't just win ugly, but they win. I love Jalen Hurts, always have been. And I think Chicago, you got to give Ben Johnson a lot of credit leaving Detroit to take over this team. Most people didn't think he could stand a chance, but he's done a hell of a job. Make Caleb Williams a hell of a quarterback. But Philadelphia should win the game. They're at home.
PJ going with Philly. They've won some ugly games in close quarters here. I'm going with a team that I've gone with more often than not this season. I'm going with Chicago. I told you Caleb Williams was going to have the opposite of a sophomore slump, and Chicago's been rolling, and they have been very, very good this year. They are 8-3, and they are letting people – they're leading their division right now. It's them, then Green Bay, then Detroit, then Minnesota. Did you have that on your bingo card this year? Probably not. So let's go to the next one here, PJ. As we picked our Black Friday game, let's go to Sunday. San Francisco at Cleveland.
San Francisco.
PJ's not even going to talk about it. San Francisco. By the way, Brock Purdy came back this past week, threw 3 interceptions in the first half, and they still beat Carolina. San Francisco, they're that team that just won't go away, and I'm going to pick them on the road. Like I said, I'll pick Cleveland when they play a worse team, but I don't think San Fran's a worse team. Jacksonville at Tennessee. Does Tennessee have any chance in this one, or does Jacksonville continue to win on the road and continue their push in the playoffs? The tickets for this game, PJ, you and I might as well meet in Nashville because they're only $11.
Oh, boy. I think Jacksonville has a very good chance of making the playoffs. They're playing tough. Trevor Lawrence still isn't setting the world on fire, not like the way I thought he would coming in. But he wins, and he wins not consistently, but I think that Brian Thomas has got to wake up a little bit too. Now that Travis Hunter's out. I like the tight ends. I like the running backs. I like Jacksonville.
I got to go with Jacksonville in this one as well. Listen, Tennessee's an awful team. Jacksonville has had some moments that make you scratch your head, but not as many as Detroit and Buffalo have had so far this year. I'm going to go with the Jaguars over the Tennessee Titans on the road. Houston at Indianapolis. Houston's playing better. They're catching fire late, and they're doing it with backup quarterback Davis Mills. Then you look at quarterback of the Colts, Daniel Jones. 2 quarterbacks that have resurrected their careers where a lot of people counted them out. Who wins this one?
I'm a little concerned that Daniel Jones is not right for this game. He's hurt. He's saying he's not hurt, but the team is saying he's hurt. So, what do you do? because really, if he doesn't play, they don't win the game. But I think he does play, and I think they win the game.
Yeah, this Sunday is going to mean a lot. Daniel Jones, who's been dealing with a lower leg injury, suffered a fracture in his fibula, allegedly, but he was a full participant in practice. They said Daniel Jones looked good. It would be malpractice to put him on the field, is what some people are also saying. So we shall see for this game. PJ, you going with Indy?
Yes.
So PJ's going with Indianapolis at home. I'm concerned what's going to happen. We may see my boy Riley Leonard out here. I'm going with Indianapolis to win the game, but I am concerned. And listen, folks, if the guy ain't healthy, leave him off the field. I know you got a lot to play for and you want to win games, but do you want the guy for the play? Here's the irony. You have him in the game, he plays hurt, you lose him for the playoffs when you're trying to play with him to have the number one spot in the playoffs. So you put him in to help you in the postseason, but then you may lose him for the postseason by putting him in. I think that they got to be smart with this. I'm going to pick Indianapolis, but red hot Houston might win the game. New Orleans at Miami. This is probably going to be a terrible game. What do you have, PJ?
Well, it is going to be a terrible game, but I like Miami. I think they should win it.
Yeah, I got Miami in this one. PJ and I learned our lesson picking New Orleans last week. Atlanta at the New York Jets. This might be the worst game in the world, PJ. The New York Jets hosting Atlanta. Atlanta has been a shell of itself. They don't have Michael Penix for the rest of the year. And the Jets haven't had offense arguably all season outside of like the first week. So what do you got?
This is a terrible game. I mean, I don't even want to pick it as so bad. But I'll stick with the Falcons.
Yeah, this game is fugly. I'm going to have to go with Atlanta in this one to win the game because the Jets are playing for that number one pick. And they may get it. We'll see. Okay, let's go to the next one here. Arizona at Tampa. Jacoby Brissett doing some good things. As I told people years ago, I like Jacoby Brissett. So here he goes to Tampa, and Baker Mayfield and the crew, PJ, they've had not a great season. We're looking at a 6-5 Tampa team, and their division's so bad that they're in first place. And that's the benefit of playing in the NFC South, because you could be barely above 500, which they are, at 6-5, and still be the number one team in your division and still get to play a home playoff game. What do you have for this one?
Brisket really looked good last week. I saw some in the game. He's always been a big, tall, strong, powerful quarterback. Throws the ball downhill, which I like to see. Certainly much better than that little wimp they got over there, Kyler Murray. He plays well, but I think that Tampa's defense and Baker Mayfield going to wake up a little bit here. I think they win the game.
Sean Tucker, former Syracuse player, single-season leading rusher with yards above Joe Morris, Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, Floyd Little in the crew. I like Tampa to get the win because they're at home. That helps too. Los Angeles at Carolina. The Rams are the number one team in the NFC. You thought Matt Stafford was done? Detroit may be done, but Matty Stafford, he's trying to go win another Super Bowl. Carolina, they might make the playoffs. What do you got, PJ?
The Rams are they're out hitting at all cylinders. He looked so good this last week watching him play. He's confident. He's got great wide receivers, got a good running game. I don't think LA has stopped at all this year. I don't think they're going to stop there.
They're 9-2, baby. Going with the Rams. By the way, I'd pick the Rams over Notre Dame to go to the college football playoff. I'm going with LA to win this one. Notre Dame fans, just have fun with me. I love your team. When I'm arguing you against other teams, including one that beat you, common sense has to take precedence over my love for Notre Dame. Minnesota at Seattle. What do you got for this, PJ? J.J. McCarthy not looking to be in this game.
No, I like Seattle in this game. Yeah, because of McCarthy can't play.
Yeah, I got to go with Seattle in this one as well. Seattle's another team flying under the radar. These Seahawks may be making a little splash here, folks. The NFC West has done some really good things. Seattle's been looking good. They got arguably the best wide receiver in the country and Jackson Smith and Jigba. The Rams are the number one team in the entire NFC of 16 franchises. And then you look at San Fran's not out of it. Arizona's done some good things under Jacoby Brissett. That entire division has some good. Let's go to Buffalo at Pittsburgh. Buffalo is coming into this Pittsburgh game bloody, walking, lollygagging down here. They've lost 2 of their last 3 games. They've lost 3 of their last 6 games. What do you got, PJ, for Buffalo at Pitt?
I don't think Aaron Rodgers plays this game. And if they don't, I think that Buffalo wins. But you can't do that. I mean, I can't pick like that. I mean, I think the Bills are the better team, but they're a better team without Aaron Rodgers playing on the other side of them.
Yeah, so PJ going with Buffalo. I don't like that this game is in Pittsburgh, the way that Buffalo's been playing. And what if the weather's bad? I know they both play in the snow, but I got to go with Pittsburgh. Because Buffalo, they haven't shown me a lot. Las Vegas Raiders at the Los Angeles Chargers. By the way, PJ, paint this picture for me and make it make sense. Didn't the Chargers get blown out by the Jaguars? But when they put up the graphic for the playoffs, they put up the graphic for the playoffs yesterday, and they have the same record for the Chargers and the Jaguars, 7-4, and they have the Chargers above the Jaguars who beat them head-to-head. Are they playing the Notre Dame-Miami game? I have no idea.
They're not. No, that doesn't make any sense. Chargers will have a walk in this game.
So PJ going with the Chargers. I'm also going with the Chargers. 2 LA teams sharing a stadium. SoFi might be looking so fine as the Chargers and the Rams. How about that? What if the Chargers and the Rams both win their division and they both get to host in the stadium? That means that stadium out in Los Angeles will be able to host 2 different franchises in the playoffs this year. Sunday Night Football. Washington is trying to get Terry McLaurin back, trying to get Jaden Daniels back, but they're playing Denver. They're playing at home, but they're playing Denver. What do you have?
Denver defense is too much.
I got Denver defense and a guy that PJ was high on. We're both high on. I give PJ the credit first, and we both talked to you about him before he even played it down. I had him being the second best rookie last year before they even announced that he would be starting the season. And that's Bobo Nix and that Denver defense. I got them winning on Sunday night. Monday Night Football, the New York Giants and New England. PJ's going to have his popcorn ready, his crab legs ready, his butter ready, because once again, PJ has the awesome opportunity to sit with MT and with the cat, Miss Marissa, and watch his favorite player on prime time, Jameis Winston and the Giants playing New England. What do you got, PJ?
Jameis is going to get his ass beat.
PJ going with New England in the game. I'm also going with the Patriots. Patriots, best team in the AFC once again, and I think that they got to walk in the park in this one. So with that being said, PJ, thank you so much for spending extra time. We said we were only going to spend an hour. He spent the whole show with me. I love you, right. PJ. The Black Friday go-so right there. We'll talk with you soon.
Okay. Take care.
Take care. That coming from Papa Joe here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. We're going to take a quick step aside for a fast break, and when we come back, we're going to get everything set and ready to go for what was supposed to be hour 2, but, you know, we promise, and when I promise you something, I got to do it, right? I'm a man of my word. I got to be a man of my word, or else what am I a man of? Those are our picks once again, so I'm going to show you those. We're going to save them here in the Great Lakes Honda City Studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, so we'll check them for next week. NFL Week 13 picks are in, and we're going to take a step aside. When I come back, I'll be bringing you the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. I will also be bringing you Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, proudly presented by the wonderful team led by Jimmer Sikowski, the owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero. And I will be bringing you the Top Dog of the Week, honoring someone, proudly presented by the only place to bring your dog for daycare and that's K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse. It's right by BJ's, right off Erie Boulevard, right off of Bridge Street, like coming around the corner from Mother's Cupboard, coming down the road from Chick-fil-A DeWitt, walking distance from Game Point Sports Complex. You can see it from the highway. It's so easy to get to, and there's so many wonderful communities around it. K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. We will see you there. You can get more information by calling 315-437-7110 and by going to K-9kamp.com. We'll be back right after this inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Stay with us.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110 That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry loving friend. Right, Lily? Avicoli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on into the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K-9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K-9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K9, ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
And welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Proud to be here with you, hanging out inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City, coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. You can go there for sales and service Monday through Saturday. You can get a sneak peek of their inventory, buy and lease, and of course you'll be looking at new and used vehicles at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. That's GreatLakesHondaCity.com. So make sure you head over there and take a look at all that they have to offer at GreatLakesHondaCity.com, including their end of the year sales that they have for you. Our trio of signature segments typically start off a Friday, but with yesterday being Thanksgiving and that turning today into, of course, Black Friday, Papa Joe joined me this morning, which gives me the opportunity to bring you our trio of signature segments. But because PJ's typically Thursday and these three segments are Friday, we shifted PJ into the first part, and so we'll round this week out with the annoying moment of the week, lead, and the top dog of the week. Let's get into the annoying moment of the week first and foremost here on Wake Up Call, where sports meets life.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I really, honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
Do you have to be that crazy? I guess so.
The annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by the team at Carvel DeWitt, led by Jay Cartini. Big time shout out to Carvel DeWitt. Don't let the snow and the cold weather fool you. The awesome flavors of Carvel are right there for you at the longest standing Carvel franchise in America, and that's here in our community of Central and Upstate New York. Go out and see them today and all throughout the holiday season and beyond at 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. My annoying moment of the week happened not that far from where Carvel DeWitt is, and that would be when a few nights ago on a Tuesday night, I was driving just, less than 72 hours ago. I happened to be driving on the highway, and for those of you that, obviously know the highway, know the area, when you leave Syracuse, like the Mello Center and the Lally Complex and all that, when you leave and you get on the highway, you can split to either go to Watertown or go to the fairgrounds. In that split, you go in the right lane, and then you have to enter into oncoming traffic from the left, which is atypical. Typically, you enter in an on-ramp from the right. There's an on-ramp from the left. Well, as I was going into that ramp, it was raining. So it was dark. It was rainy, which neither one of those helped the situation. But I'm in the lane, and an 18-wheeler carrying like cargo and all this stuff, I don't even know how he made it. He was going toward Watertown. He decides at the 11:59 mark, before it hits midnight, he decides to come in to my lane. So I'm going toward the fairgrounds. I have concrete next to me. The concrete barrier that cuts off the two pieces of the highway is like on my left, concrete barrier on my right. This 18-wheeler comes into the off-ramp sideways while I'm driving on it. God saved my life. I'm still kind of in this surreal moment because God has saved my life in other instances, but God saved my life. I don't know how this 18-wheeler... Now, if a car did what this 18-wheeler did, and it was a sports car, they still could have hit me. They still could have flown off the highway. So, I don't know how this 18-wheeler made it in. And it's one of two things for the person driving it. Well, it's one of three things. Either they were under the influence, they didn't see me, or they didn't care. Maybe it was they were under the influence and they didn't see me. Maybe it was under the influence, they didn't care. Maybe it was they didn't care. Maybe it was, I don't know. But I want you to think about an 18-wheeler with a long... I want you to think about the front of the 18-wheeler, like the truck itself, and carrying something on its bed. It wasn't an 18-wheeler that had like the encased. This was a wide open back end. Okay? So it was carrying stuff. I want you to picture getting off an exit, like a fork in the road, where there's concrete, right? It's not cushion. I want you to picture going off and on, going to an off-ramp. And I want you to picture a car cutting in sideways while you're going in and all you have is concrete. I want you to picture if you think a normal car in that tight quarters would hit you. Then I want you to picture an 18-wheeler that's the length of like 4 or 5 cars making that same move, and I didn't die or get hit. I was able to slow down enough. It wasn't slippery. And somehow this move that defied science the 18-wheeler didn't hit me. Then this 18-wheeler was going toward the fair and was swerving in and out of traffic as if, again, it was a sports car. And there was traffic in all 3 lanes, and they're swerving into traffic and out of traffic. So I hope that person was pulled over. I hope that person was checked for drugs and checked for alcohol. I hope that person was checked for their license and their registration. I hope that person had a phone call to their company for how they were driving. Not because I wish bad on the person, not because I hope bad on the person, not because I want anything bad to happen in any way, shape, or form to them or their loved ones, but because that human being should not be driving a vehicle, let alone an 18-wheeler, when they could have killed someone. And either they didn't see me or they didn't care. But if they didn't see me, what were they doing? If they didn't care, what type of human being are you? And it's not my job to judge because I don't know. I can't say that it was someone driving illegally. I can't say it was someone driving with a falsified license. I can't say it's someone driving under the influence of marijuana or alcohol or whatever because I don't know. All I can say is the way that that person drove could have killed anybody on the road that day. And I'm still somewhat in shock when I picture what that looked like when I was driving. But I thank God I'm okay. I thank God I'm here. Thank God they're okay. Because the way that they went across, they could have jumped that break and they could have not been on either side of the highway. They could have literally gone up and like brought the 18-wheeler over and had it hanging over the road below because he or she came at a time where they could have literally gotten the 18-wheeler like stuck in midair above the 2 highways because of the cutoff and how quickly or how they waited until the last possible. I still don't understand how they made it into my lane without hitting me, getting in an accident themselves, jackknifing, going over the highway. I mean, I don't know. I genuinely don't. And I'm happy that I'm okay. I hope everybody else is. And I hope they got pulled over for the safety and security of themselves and everyone around them. Not because I wish bad on them. But I wouldn't give that person, if that's how that person drives normally, sober, they would not have a license to an 18-wheeler, let alone a license to a bicycle or a tricycle at that point. So I'm not about hurting people and taking things away. I'm about the law, and sometimes people should not be on the road. And the way that that person drove that day, that's unacceptable. If I was a driver of that and they told me, hey, you almost killed somebody back there, I'd be beside myself. I'd probably want to find out who the person was I almost killed so I could apologize to them and their family. So just do better when you're on the road. And please understand that if you're looking at your phone or you're shaving or you're smoking weed or doing another drug or drinking, by the way, and I'm not saying that this person was, I just want to let you all know, legalizing marijuana gave people another substance to have behind a wheel to kill you. I want you to fully know that. Because I've been around people that have smoked. And I'm not saying that everybody that smokes, just like everybody that drinks, that you're not a bad person. But marijuana does not improve your ability to react. Marijuana does not improve your ability to be a human. Okay? It's a drug that has side effects that definitely are not making you a better driver or a person who makes better decisions. So, the legalization of marijuana, giant mistake. Because now you have people, and don't tell me that these people don't drive smoking weed, because when I drive behind cars, I can smell you. Everyone that gets behind a vehicle that's smoking marijuana, just like someone who gets behind a vehicle that has alcohol on their breath, Not okay. And I'm not saying that this vehicle did. I'm just saying in general, you think about those things now when you're on the road and people do these absolutely horrifying moves on the road and you're like, are they smoking? So we should probably not be legalizing drugs that slow down your ability to react. And I just hope that that driver was pulled over. Just for the sheer fact of getting them off the road for 20 minutes, which saves 20 minutes of traffic from getting killed. Because like I said, not only did they drive in such a way that could have killed me, they drove in such a way after almost hitting me, which shows me that they don't care because they continue to drive erratic after me, after they passed me. So I don't wish bad on them. I don't wish bad on anyone. I don't pray that anybody loses anything. I'm just saying that there's a reason why we have law and order. And if that's how that person drives, who in their right mind would want them on the road, let alone representing their company? Like, they almost killed me that day. And that was 3 days ago. Not even a full 72 hours. So, be safe. I can be better when I drive. I know that. But you have to focus. You have to be safe and you have to be considerate. If you're too tired, don't drive. If you're drunk, don't drive. If you've had alcohol to buzz you or whatever, don't drive. If you're smoking anything, okay, weed, whatever, don't drive. If you just went through a breakup and you're freaking out and can't function, don't drive. You may not care about your life, but I care about mine. And I care about yours, even if you don't care about yours. So whoever did what they did that day to me, I pray that you've had some sense knocked into you in the most peaceful and loving way from God, and that you do better. Because we all need to do better, me included. Nobody should be afraid to drive. I mean, I was almost killed by a drunk driver in 2005. So, and that entire situation was wild. Everything about that night makes no sense to this day. So, be safe, be considerate, be kind. And with the snow being out right now, I know I'm talking to some of you that drive like there's no snow, like there's no ice, like there's no cold, like there's no wetness on the, like, some of you drive in bad weather worse than you drive in good weather. Like, I got to get home. And then we're going to see like 12 cars in the ditch. You know how many cars I've seen in the ditch in central and upstate New York in the time that I've driven? So please be safe. Please be considerate. And those of you that don't care when the weather's nice, you show yourselves when the weather is bad because you're usually the car in the ditch or potentially the one that caused the car to go into the ditch. Please just start caring about each other. Please. This world has gotten to a point where we don't care about other people and we're okay with that. Stop being okay with that. You should care about everyone because you dang well want people to care about you. There's no selfish person on this planet that doesn't want other people to care about them. That's the irony. They only care about themselves, but they want everybody to care about them. So please, please think about other people, especially during Black Friday and this holiday season and bad weather. Today's the perfect storm of a selfish person to just wreak havoc. Don't do that. Be considerate, be kind. If there's only one t-shirt left and, oh my gosh, don't step on somebody to get it. Don't punch somebody to get it. Okay? If you're trying to get to Target, don't fly off the road or send somebody off the road in a snowstorm. If you're waiting in line, the 72 people in front of you that are trying to self-check out, Don't yell at those people because they're not going fast enough and you need to get to another store. Okay? It's funny that Black Friday people are buying gifts for like other people a lot of the times. And it's like you're buying gifts to show love on Christmas while showing hate to the people around you. Be kind, be considerate, be courteous, and just remember that all the stuff you buy, when you die, can't come with you. So is it worth fighting over something that you can't take with you? I'm just saying. God bless you all. This has been the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. Go get some ice cream, get some nice flavor in you, and be considerate of others. Let's jump into LEAD. Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver is the acronym that we have here on the show, proudly presented by the wonderful team led by Jimmer Sikowski of Chick-fil-A Cicero. And I am honored and privileged to bring you this edition of LEAD. Like I said, the acronym stands for Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver. All things that I was just talking about with the Annoying Moment of the Week, right? We have to learn and take what we've learned and evolve. Because once you stop learning, you stop living. I do believe that. And then you have to ad-lib at times, like I had to do on that road with that vehicle. And you have to deliver. When you say, hey, not only do I want that vehicle to be better, but that driver to be better, I need to be better. Because I know there's times where I wasn't fully focused on my driving. And that could have hurt somebody. And thank goodness it didn't. But if I call out somebody for driving seemingly not focused, well, guess what? I have to call out myself and say that sometimes I drove and I wasn't focused. And there's been a lot of those moments that I'd love to go back and do better. So don't just talk about it, be about it, and let's lead together. So this topic today in this edition of LEAD, lead or ship. I've been talking a lot about leadership on the show. I've been talking about a lot about when I don't see it. I also have to talk about the moments where I do see it. What is leadership? What does leadership mean to you? Who leads your life? Is it God? Is God the leader of your life, or do you do it all by yourself? No God. And by the way, if you think you do it all by yourself, you'll find out at the end of your life, hopefully before, but you'll find out at the end of your life that those of you that think there is no God, well, there is. And those of you that, those of you that believe that God exists, you almost get hit by a vehicle and you go, oh, thank God. Some of you that don't believe in God, you might say those words. You might say Jesus' name, or you might say God when you're in that driving. Isn't it funny how people that are agnostic, atheists, that don't believe in anything, when it comes to a life or death situation, you'll hear them say God. Just funny how that works. Just funny how that works. So what is leadership? I ask you. If I looked up the definition right now, which I'm going to do in the studio, to read you a word-for-word definition of it, then we'll talk about it. What is the definition of leadership? And I want to do it in a way where we're not looking at the word lead. It says the office or position of a leader, capacity to lead, the act or an instance of leading. Right? But when you look at a definition, you don't want the definition to just restate the word that's in it. So let's look up the definition of lead, right? Let's go to the root, since leadership keeps referring back to this. So what's the definition of lead? Well, to lead is to guide on a way, especially by going in advance, to direct on a course or in a direction, to serve as a channel for, to go through, to direct the operations, activity, or performance of, to have charge of, to suggest to a witness to answer desired by asking leading question. Okay, so that's with law. To go at the head of, to be first in or among, to have a margin over, to bring some conclusion or condition, to begin play with, to aim in front of a moving object, to pass a ball or puck just in front of a moving teammate, to guide someone or something along a way, to lie, run, or open in a specified place or direction, to guide a dance partner through the steps of a dance, to be first, to tend toward or have a result, to direct the first of a series of blows at an opponent in boxing, the act or privilege of playing first in a card game, position at the front. So I'm looking through all this stuff. But let's go. So some of these obviously have to do with a specific thing, a specific sport. Let's look at to guide on a way, especially by going in advance, to direct on a course or in a direction, to serve as a channel for, to go through, to guide someone or something along a way. So leadership has to do with going before, right? Being the one that steps into the unknown. Maybe the one that goes into the basement first. Maybe the one that goes around the corner first. Maybe the one that sets the precedent instead of copying the precedent. The one that is willing to step out, step in front, step toward before anybody else does, ahead of everybody else. The one that goes out into the wilderness, into the abyss, and makes a decision instead of having a decision made for them. The one that is not following, but instead is the one making the choice. Leaders do not follow. Leaders are followed. So, and that doesn't mean that a leader doesn't have somebody else that they looked up to or a mentor. I'm just saying, when you take on a position of leadership, what does that mean? Right? You're overseeing others. You're guiding them on a path. You are the one. You're a quarterback, you're guiding an offense. You're the linebacker, your middle linebacker, calling out the play that they see to the defensive line, to the fellow linebackers, the DBs. You're leading that defense. You're kicking the ball off on special teams. You're leading that drive of where the ball is going to go. Right? You're a leader in battle. You're the one that sends your sword forward to tell everyone to go. You've chosen where you're going to attack from, how you're going to attack, and when you're going to go. The leader has a responsibility, a great responsibility. Because when you are the leader, you can't be like, well, such and such said to... No, you're the one that makes the decision. So when we look at leadership, it's easy to think we see it when things are going well. The business is booming. We've made a ton of sales, right? The team is undefeated. It is easy to claim leadership when things are going well. But when hits the fan, the shizzle dizzle hits the fan, the question becomes, well, now we're really going to know who the leader is, right? We're going to see, because a true leader can lead you when meteors are falling upon the earth. A true leader can lock in and focus when other people are freaking out. So if you consider yourself a leader, I ask you, how do you respond If there's a hurricane and your family's nervous and you're nervous, are you able to lock in, focus, get everybody to the basement, make sure all the doors are locked, the windows are shut, those are locked, make sure that everybody's away from the windows, that you have pillows and blankets around you, that you have your phones, you have your chargers, and you have a plan? You have a place to go if you have to leave. Or are you the person in the corner shaking and your family's looking to you going, what do we do? What do we do? And you're going, I don't know. Don't ask me. Leaders do not cower in the corner. Leaders get you to the basement, get you under a table. They sing you a song. Leaders aren't just there when you're winning. Leaders are showing improvement even when you're losing. I've been around sports long enough and I've covered sports long enough to tell you that there's two types of losing teams. A losing team that you can see value in. A losing team that you can see, I don't even want to say see value in, because I find value in every human being. So let me rephrase. There's two types of losing teams. A losing team that's showing improvement and a losing team that's either standing still or getting worse. See, when people look at losing teams, they just go, oh, these teams suck. These teams win, they're good. These teams lose, they suck. But I take a more critical eye to things. And I say, is this losing team better in week 8 than they were in week 4? Are they worse? Are they the same? Because there's two moves you never want to make in life. Stand still or fall back. You always want to move forward. So when I'm assessing a college football team, for example, and I look at a team that's lost a bunch of games, 5 in a row, 7 in a row, 2 in a row, 3, whatever. I look at them and I say, yeah, they lost, but are they better than they were last week? Take away the loss, take away the margin of loss. I'm going to look at the quarterback. Is he better? I'm going to look at the running back. Are they better? I'm going to look at the offensive line. Are they better? The defensive line, is that better? Is the linebacker better? Are the DBs getting better? Because I can look at a team and say, when this team was winning, this DB was giving up a lot. And when they're losing, this DB is actually better. So now I could see them and say, this DB actually has played better in losses than they did in wins. And those wins were early on in the season, and the losses were later in the season. So what can I say? Take away the record overall of the team, I can see that this individual is better. Because sometimes on losing teams, you have guys that are on a steady incline, even though the team is on a steady decline. But then we come to leadership. And I say, these individuals are good, but the team as a whole is not. So then I go to the leaders. You're taking care of your job, but are you uplifting other people? You were a corner that everybody was testing and trying, and they were winning against you, those quarterbacks. Now, they're not winning against you. Some of them won't even throw in your direction. So you're doing your job, but the defense is horrible. You're good, but they're bad. So have you stepped up? Have you gone to people? Have you sat with them? Have you prayed with them? Have you talked with them? Have you worked with them? Have you said, hey, pick your head up. You're going to be okay. Are you doing for them what you would want someone to do for you? Because that's leadership. You improving is great. But if the defense as a whole is terrible, then what are you doing to help others improve? Now, if they don't listen to you and you're trying, that's their choice. But are you trying? Right? Because sometimes on losing teams, people just start looking individually and they go, you know what? We suck, but I'm going to get mine. I'm going to handle mine. I don't care about you. I'm going to take care of me. Are you that type of player? See, leadership is looking beyond yourself. Leadership is not coming with an ego. People think that leaders have giant egos, and maybe some people in leadership positions do. But I think being the best leader is being the leader that is without an ego. A leader who, because if you have an ego, then it's going to be everybody else's fault when your team loses, when the business's sales go down. It's going to be everybody but you. I'm the CEO, can't be me. I'm the head coach, can't be me. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. See, leadership is about not having that ego. It's about saying, yes, I am leading these people. And maybe that comes with more money. And it comes with a big title. But if you fail to lead, if you fail to move people forward, if you fail to show improvement even in losses, you're not a good leader. See, I don't look at a team and say, this team sucks. There's teams that win, and I would look at a coach and how they speak, and I would go, I would never play for that person. I don't like their ego. I don't like the way they talk about things. I don't like the way they handle things. I don't like how they talk about themselves in the third person. I don't like how it's never their fault. Because if I'm a coach and I've done everything I possibly can and my team doesn't want to listen, I can still look at myself and go, well, it's my fault for recruiting these guys. Because if my team's not listening and I got 105 players on my college football team, you think there's a chance that maybe I had an inkling that one of them was a bad egg? I'm going to sit there and go, these 105 kids won't listen to me. It's all their fault. There's not 1, 2, 3, 20 of those kids that I thought were potentially going to cause an issue. That's on me. I recruited them. I brought them in. Now, yeah, I gave them a chance. But if my gut's telling me that's a really good wide receiver, but that's a really big problem, and then they end up being a problem, it's on them. They make the choice. But is it not on me? If I felt that in my gut, like, hey, if I bring them in, there's a great upside, but there's also a massive downside. If I took that risk and it ends up being extremely risky, and I just go to the podium and go, well, I'm not in their body. It's not my fault what they say and do. Yeah, but you also chose to bring them in. You chose to overlook your gut. You chose to overlook things that just didn't feel right. You know, people call it a sixth sense. They call it a gut. They call it an inkling. They call it God's voice. They call it a conscience. Whatever you want to call it, there's something that we all have that tells us this place, this thing, this person, something's not right, or something is. There's a reason why we believe in those that nobody else believes in. There's a reason why we may not believe in somebody that everybody else believes in, right? It can go either way. There can be that one coach that everybody thinks is fantastic, but something inside of you goes, nah, if I hire them, there's going to be a lot of issues. And there could also be that person that people have thrown in the trash. They've gotten in trouble. They've done this. They've done that. And you're like, nah, I sat with them. I prayed with them. I know their heart. I'm going to give them a chance. That gut feeling, that voice from God will help you give a chance to somebody that no one else will. And it will also be the thing that maybe keeps you from giving a chance to somebody that everybody wants to give a chance to, right? Like there might be the hottest coach out there to hire and they go, of all the 13 schools, you're the only one that doesn't want to hire this guy. The other 12 want to hire him. What's your problem? It's not a good fit. It's not a good fit. You know? Leadership is making those tough decisions. It's saying, I'm not going to take the shiny object that everyone else would take because I believe in my knowledge and my wisdom and my gut and the things I've gained and the faith that I have, that this just doesn't feel right. Leadership is also going to be the thing where you say, here's this rock that everyone's thrown in the trash, this piece of coal that nobody wants, but I believe that this piece of coal is actually a diamond. You see those people that are like consistently successful, consistently things work out, and you go, man, they're so lucky. Are they? Or are they the ones that are leading in such a way where they're willing to make a decision to not take something that everybody else would take, or to take something that nobody else would take? You can call it luck, but could it maybe be wisdom? Could it maybe be knowledge? Could it maybe that sixth sense and that gut feeling that just calls to that person? Leadership is about making decisions that other people wouldn't make. It's about making tough decisions that people are afraid to make. It's about doing things that may make no sense to nobody in the world. It may be you and God versus everybody else. That's the life of a leader. It's not about the money and the cars and the big house and the titles as much as it's about who are you when it hits the fan? Who are you when adversity strikes? Who are you when it doesn't work the way that you thought it was going to? Who are you when you did all your homework, all your research, and it just isn't what you thought it was going to be? That tells me if you're a leader or if you're just posing as one. Right? Not every head coach is a leader. Not every quarterback is a leader. Not every CEO is a leader. Not every chancellor or president is a leader. Not every prime minister is a leader. Not every parent in a household is a leader. The oldest child in a family is not necessarily a leader, just because they're the one that's been around the longest. Leadership has nothing to do with how much time you've spent, because you could be 30 years a leader and you could have wasted that time. There could be a senator that's 3 years in and you're 30 years in, and that 3-year senator has more knowledge and wisdom and experience and makes better decisions than you do. 27 years doesn't mean anything. There's a kid that can walk into a room. I've been broadcasting for 22 years. They could be smarter than me. Just like when I walked in at 18, I could have been smarter than other people. I don't respect people based on age or time. I respect people based on how you treat people and how you carry yourself. I didn't want it to matter when I was 18. So how can I turn around now at 40 years old and go, I'm 22 years in, you better respect me? Because I didn't like that attitude from people when I walked through the door. So I have to check myself right here today and go, I'm going to do better. But the kid that walked in at 18, he thought, God, I believe I should be in this room. I'm going to work my tail off to be in this room. And that same kid 22 years later, same thing. Hey, God, I'm going to work to be in this room. I think I should be in this room. Because if I go from the kid that wants to be in the room who's never been in the room to the kid that now thinks I deserve to be in the room because I've been in it for so long. Now, do I think building a track record is good and having a body of work is good? Absolutely. But I wanted people to believe in me when I had no sponsors, had no credentials. And I want to stay that kid for the rest of my life because that kid got me to the point where I have these credentials and I have these businesses. He believes in God and he believes in himself. He believes in God no matter who tells him not to, and he believes in himself no matter who tells him not to. That's the leader I want to be, not the guy who becomes the guy that they couldn't stand 22 years ago. I have to check myself. You have to check yourself. And if it don't feel right in the gut, we have to do better. I'm not going to cop out any more than I want you to. Because I think there's times where I should have thought about things differently and done things differently. And I woke up today. God woke me up, right? So now I can. Now you can. Now we can. And how about we do? How about we make this world the best one yet? How about we make this day the best day yet? By leading, understanding that leadership has to do with guiding others. It's not just about getting your money, getting your accolades, getting your. If you want to get your, then don't be a leader. But when you're a leader, it's about giving, not just getting. It's about helping others reach their highest potential. When you decide to be a leader and you work your butt off and you get in a leadership role, it's on you to help other people grow and evolve and progress and get better. It's not just about you. If it's just about you, don't be a head coach. If it's just about you, don't be a coordinator. If it's just about you, don't be the president. If it's just about you, don't be a congressperson. If it's just about you, don't be a mayor. Don't be a governor. If it's just about you, do something else. Because when you're a mayor, you're overseeing and making decisions for people. And when you're a governor, you're overseeing and making decisions for people. When you're a president, you're overseeing and making decisions for people. When you're a CEO, you're overseeing and making decisions for people. When you're a head coach, you're overseeing and making decisions for people. There's a difference with being a doctor and being the head doctor. You're the head doctor of the hospital. You're overseeing and making decisions for people. There's a difference between being a teacher and a principal. When you're a principal, you're overseeing and making decisions for people. See, people want leadership roles because they want to be highly touted. They want to put it on their resume. They want to put it next to their name. They want to have that label at their desk when you come in and you think, oh, I'm with a big wig now. They want the accolade, but you got to do the work. Leadership sometimes is being a lot to leadership is being a servant. A lot to leadership is doing the dirty work. I wanted to lead a show that I created in college. So I was the head commentator. I could have shown up in the suit and sat down 10 minutes before the game, and everybody else set up all the equipment, set up the cameras, set up the wires, plugged everything in, tested the mic, tested the headphones, got me my stat sheets, got me my pronunciation guides, got me everything I needed, and I just show up and I go. But I was the broadcaster, I was the head commentator that was going under the bleachers, climbing onto the ground into the dust to unplug the wires. I was the one making sure the cameras were where they're supposed to be. Are they turned on? Are they set up? I was the one testing the volume, saying this doesn't sound right, this doesn't feel right, asking questions. Leaders are the ones that go underneath the bleacher to unplug the wires in their suits and their dresses. They're not the ones that come and sit down. That's not a leader. That's a figurehead. They're different. They're treated the same, but they're different. Okay? A figurehead, a Manchurian candidate, is not the same as a leader. So when we talk about leadership, you have to understand that you have a responsibility of guiding a community, a business, a team into territory that may be dangerous, may be unknown. Okay? Moses was leading. Not everybody agreed with how he did it. Not everybody agreed with what he did or when he did. But he followed the ultimate leader, God. He said, God, what do you want me to do? And God would tell him to do something. Then he would do it. The people would complain. Or he wouldn't do something and the people would complain. And God was like, it's all right. It's fine. Keep doing what I told you. And Moses was like, yeah, but God, listen to them. They hate me. They think I'm stupid. God was like, what I tell you. Okay, you're going to listen to them, you're going to listen to me. So I think being the best leader you can be is putting God first. Because I don't think you can be a leader without a moral compass. And I don't know a better moral compass than the one that made us. So the next time you think about the word leadership, look at how that person reacts, acts, preempts, and responds when everything is going wrong. Because true leadership comes from tough decisions and tough situations, not from the sunshine rainbow field. It comes from the difficult stuff. And I'm not saying that you don't show leadership when things are going great, but I'm saying you can differentiate a leader from a figurehead when things are not going great. So you have to choose not what leader you're going to be, because there's only one type of leader, one that guides others. So you have to determine, are you in it for you, or are you in it for everyone? Because if you are someone who is in it for you, leadership is not what you're exemplifying. If you seek to lead, it has to be a heck of a lot more than just about you. Remember that. We'll take our final step aside here on Wake Up Call. That's been Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. When we come back, the top dog of the week is announced, and then we jump right in to Rivalry Week, which has begun in college football. And I need to go watch them, and so do you, but not before we round it up here on the show.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is open to you Tuesday through Saturday. They're closed on Mondays. Tuesday through Saturday open to you. Make sure you go out and visit them Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 and on Sundays from 10 to 5. When it comes to being a big kid and living that passion, that love for sports cards, getting close to your team, getting close to your favorite player or players, and getting close to those games that you love, as well as those characters that you love when we talk about Disney Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, and so on and so forth, Magic the Gathering, One Piece, you got to get yourself over to GG Cards and Breaks. Perfect gifts going into the holiday season and a perfect place to spend your Black Friday. GG Cards and Breaks, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. We will see you over there. I appreciate you supporting a wonderful business, a local business, a small business in our community that does things with love and passion and goodness, and they just have some of the biggest hearts in the world. Head over to GG Cards and Breaks today and feel what it's like to have that kid spirit never go away. Big time shout out to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. Find your way over to Chick-fil-A DeWitt today. Please be careful, because I'm sure that there's a lot of people out when it comes to shopping here on Black Friday, and I'm sure that there's just the hustle and bustle and the weather's bad, so travel safe. But get yourself over to Chick-fil-A DeWitt on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. You can't miss it. The giant brick building with the double drive-through. You can order on the app. You can also go inside and order there. And of course, you can order in the drive-through. And you know it, and I know it. The peppermint chip shake is back today. Do not miss out on it. Came back recently here. It's available to you through the Christmas and holiday season. And I look forward to you heading over to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt and getting that and more in a wonderful place led by Megan Sorber and her team. With that being said, it's time to go to the top dog of the week, proudly presented by the fantastic team at K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. 315-437-7110 is the number to call to get in touch with them. That's 315-437-7110. Get in touch with K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare, the place to bring your dog in central and upstate New York, including those that are traveling into the community, especially during this holiday season. You want to get in touch with them. You got to call them quickly before they run out of space. 315-437-7110. You can get more information by going to K-9 Kamp.com. That's K-9 Kamp.com. They're open for the holiday season, so you don't want to miss out on reaching out to them. K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. They also have, and I'm going to be putting up a video with Miss Lily, they have a fantastic store that's there, so you could buy a bunch of things within their store, and there's a self-serve dog wash. So they offer you so much in this one-stop shop at K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. My top dog of the week for this week is going to go out to two people that put their lives on the line to protect the president, to protect Congress, to protect the community, and those are our wonderful men and women of the National Guard. And my top dogs of the week are two that stood in the face of danger. One of them is up in heaven, and one of them, I hope, is not going up to heaven for a very long time. I hope someday. I just hope that someday is not for a long while. And of course, I'm speaking of Sarah Beckstrom, who passed away at the age of 20 after being shot in Washington, D.C. And I'm also honoring as the top dog of the week someone who has been fighting for their lives. And that being the other person that was there with Sarah Beckstrom that day. And that being the young man that we prayed for yesterday and will continue to pray for. And that young man, Andrew Wolf, my other top dog of the week. The fact that I'm sitting here this morning having this conversation with you is ridiculous. The fact that Sarah Beckstrom was not with her family at the Thanksgiving table yesterday is ridiculous. The fact that Andrew Wolf was not with his family at the Thanksgiving table yesterday is ridiculous. We have allowed things to happen in America that we used to balk at and shake our heads at and think, thank God we don't live there. We used to look at the Middle East and we used to thought, what a terrible place to live. And now a lot of things happening in this country mirror the unrest in the Middle East. It saddens me that anyone would seek to play God in taking the life of somebody else. These people are just on the job. And to think that someone is killing someone in the name of God has got to be one of the most backward, crazy, insane, off-the-wall, illogical, irrational, nonsensical things that I've ever heard in my life. Because if you know God, He's not the one that's telling you, hey, go kill somebody. And tell him it's in my honor. This country has lost its footing in reality. And a lot of people have died because of it. A lot of people have died because of accepting things that no sound mind would accept. No kind and gracious heart would accept. This country used to be a melting pot. A place where your background didn't matter, your religion didn't matter, your color didn't matter. Right? And some people would say, Dan, it's always been where your color. Listen, I don't look at people that way. And I surround myself with a lot of people that don't look at people that way. Is there some bad in this country? Yeah, there's bad everywhere. But this country's gotten worse. And there's a lot of things that the media is not telling you that I'm talking to people about in the cities, in the areas. I'm seeing things with my own eyes. See, I go places and I pay attention. I don't really care what the media says. I don't care what the news says. I care about what I see, what I hear, what I experience, and when I talk to the locals, what that's like. Because true leadership is about going and finding the answer, not just accepting the one that you get. And not every answer is right. Not every answer is true. Somebody that cheats on you, you think they're going to tell you that they are? Or more often than not, are they going to deny it? You don't think the news is capable of that? Distorting the truth so that you don't know what they're actually doing or trying to do? This country has become less safe, less civilized, less focused on God. It's become anti-Catholic and anti-Christian in certain instances. We live in a country that publicly has become totally okay with saying, if you don't believe what I believe, I'm okay if you die. If we want to understand why our country looks so bad right now, it doesn't take you having to look that far. It's become what we've accepted, overlooked, suppressed, what we focus on. You cannot look at your house with spaghetti on the wall, a broken kitchen table, glass everywhere, and crying babies, and say, I don't know how this happened. When you let a bull come into the house, wreak havoc, break your table, knock off a bunch of things from the table that fell to the floor and broke why there's glass everywhere. The spaghetti, because they hit the table, which launched all the spaghetti and meatballs onto the wall, and the crying babies who are terrified of this thing that's running around in your house. So many people are complaining of a kitchen that's a mess. But who's taking responsibility for the chaotic bull that's in that kitchen? Or pointing fingers at someone saying, that's the bull, making you look over here while the actual bull is wreaking havoc in your house. Calling you outside of your house to go, look, there's an alligator outside. Getting you outside to look at the alligator so that the bull can charge into your kitchen. The problem isn't only that the bull's been allowed in the kitchen. The problem is also that a lot of us have looked at the wonderful thing that was sent to us to be a distraction. It's not only that there's a bull in the kitchen, it's that we're easily distracted. There are so many made-up problems in America right now that we're not even focusing on the real ones. Poverty, violence, drugs, sex trafficking, child trafficking, human trafficking in general, weapons trafficking. Where our tax money goes, what our politicians are doing versus what they say they're doing. You know, reality is really a pain in the butt to liars. And when I walk out of a room, I don't worry. Because I'm not going to lie to you in good conscience. So I don't have to worry when I walk out of the room. Because I know who I am. Now, am I perfect? Are there things that I think I could have done this? I could have done more research. I could have said this. But see, the thing is, like, I joke about stuff. When I say that a certain team shouldn't be in the top 2 or top 3 or make it to the college football playoff, I get attacked by who? Mostly the fans of that team. They're not looking at it impartially. They're not looking at this with knowledge and wisdom. They're looking at this as he said that he doesn't like the thing I like, so I hate him. And that's what America's become. If you disagree with me, I hate you. If you disagree with me, I don't think you should have your job. I don't think that you're a good person. I don't think that you should live. I think if you don't agree with me, then I'm going to send a mob with pitchforks and torches. Instead of just going, oh, you don't agree with me? Okay, well, what are your thoughts? And then if your thoughts make factual sense, even though I want to believe this, maybe you're right. I had a conversation with my dad yesterday where my dad was right about something that I was wrong about. So I sat and I listened. And I thought to myself, I can be better. We have to get out of this thing where, like, we don't want to be wrong, that we're willing to just set ourselves on fire and burn to death while we look at everybody and tell everyone that we're not warm. I don't even feel the heat. I'm set myself on fire and pretend like I can't even feel the heat. That's insane. When you're wrong about something, people have such an ego. Nobody wants to be wrong about anything anymore, right? If you're a meteorologist and you say there's going to be a snowstorm and it's 70 degrees, all those kids that thought they were getting a snow day, does the meteorologist say anything? What do they say? Oh, well, you know, based on what I thought, and it's not me, it was the machine, and it was the Doppler radar, and it was based on all the readings, and it was, you know, I did all my, and I did everything that I was supposed to do, and I did this and that, and, you know, instead of just being like, you know what, I was wrong. Right? I would respect a meteorologist for going, I was wrong. As opposed to going, well, it's not my fault. I blame the machines. I blame this. I blame that. I went outside and blah, blah. Like, if I look outside and I see the weather and you look outside and you see the weather, is there a chance that the weather can change quick? Yeah, that's happened before. But is there also a chance that it doesn't? My buddy was freaking out one time. He was going down to Orlando going to Disney. He said, Dan, I'm going down for 8 days. It's supposed to thunderstorm like all 8 days. I said, dude, it's the time of year you're going down. It says thunderstorm in the forecast all the time. It's more than likely that it's not going to rain every day that you're there, not all day that you're there. I know it looks scary on the weather report, but, you know, I've been in Florida long enough. It's the second hub of my company. It's my second home. I used to, like, live there every day. So, you know, just understand that, you know, I'm praying for you and I'm hoping for you above everything else. I'm asking God because I'm not God and I don't truly know. But I can tell you that I have faith that it's not going to be bad for 8 days. And I think he had like 2 days of rain. The majority of the trip was fine. Totally perfect. Great. But what did the meteorologist and the Weather Channel show you? It's doomsday. You picked the time to go down to Florida where you're not going to be able to go anywhere. You're going to be drenched everywhere you go. You're not going to be able to ride rides. You're not going to be able to be outside. Your kid's going to freak out. You're going to freak out. It's a totally wasted vacation. Congratulations. You just threw $3,000 into the furnace. And what ended up happening? He had a fantastic trip, and him and the family had a great time, and it rained for like a day and a half maybe. Right? So, not everything you see is the God's honest truth, and not everything you hear is the God's honest truth. And the unfortunate thing in this country is there's been this growing mob of people that have this very irrational belief that a world without police enforcement and law enforcement and military is a safer world. You know who's feeding these people these crazy thoughts? The anarchists that want it to happen. Because the moment that you get rid of cops, you get rid of the National Guard, get rid of the military, is the moment that they take over. And then all these people that they lulled to sleep, they'll be more than happy to take your house, take your cars, take your children, take your weapons, take your money, while you sit there and wonder how stupid you were in that moment. The fact that we have to sit here a day after Thanksgiving and talk about the fact that 2 National Guards people were shot, one of them's dead and one of them is fighting for their lives, is an awful thing. But I choose to flip to a positive and say, thank God that we have people, especially in today's America, that don't listen to the media and don't listen to all this stuff about how bad law enforcement is and defund this and defund that and we don't care about them. Thank goodness that Sarah and Andrew didn't listen. Thank goodness that they said, everyone running away from the fire, I'm going to run toward it. And yeah, the family might not be thinking thank goodness right now when Sarah Beckstrom isn't physically here. But hopefully over time they'll say, you know what? Our daughter, our friend, our partner, our student, our peer, it's because of people like her that people like me are safe. It's because of the National Guard that I don't have to crap myself every time I go to the grocery store. It's because of the National Guard that maybe drugs are leaving, maybe weapons are leaving, maybe gangsters are leaving. That no, Sarah passing away and Andrew fighting for his life, it's not a good day for America. It's not a good day for humanity. It's not a good day for the universe. But what if Sarah and Andrew and other people thought, you know what? The media hates the cops, by and large. This country seems to hate law and order. This country is spitting on and fighting with and unsafely protesting. Why am I going to put myself in harm's way for a bunch of lunatics that want to burn this country down? But you know what? You know the people that didn't think that? Sarah and Andrew. Because if they thought that and really believed it, they wouldn't show up, they wouldn't put the gear on, and they wouldn't stand watch. So Sarah, it is your end of watch. Andrew, hopefully it's not. But I thank you both for your service. I thank every National Guardsman and woman. I thank every law enforcement person. I thank every police officer and trooper and sheriff. I thank every first responder, firefighter, everyone that works in ambulances, everyone that works with any emergency vehicles. I thank the people that are working at 911, that are dispatching people out there and taking our calls. I thank the National Guard. I thank the Marines. I thank the Navy. I thank the Army. I thank the Air Force. I thank Special Ops. I thank everyone that's undercover. Because without your courage and your bravery, there may not even be an America to wake up to the day after Thanksgiving. So am I happy to hear of the death of Sarah and the senseless violence towards Sarah and Andrew? Absolutely not. But if I can honor a hero today, it's honoring Sarah, Andrew, and every man and woman that stands up to protect us so that you and I can go Black Friday shopping and running around like chickens with our heads cut off, just trying to find stuff before everybody else does. The fact that we can even have Black Friday shopping in a country where the worst thing that you're concerned about is how long the lines are going to be and how bad the traffic's going to be, thank your National Guard. Thank your cop. Thank your sheriff. Thank your first responder. Thank your firefighter. Thank your EMT. Thank your Army. Thank your Navy. Thank your Marine. Thank your Special Ops. Thank your Navy. Thank your Air Force. I think it's the Navy twice, but shout out to all of the military. Thank your trooper. Black Friday shopping doesn't happen in a country. The day after Thanksgiving of running out and going and buying stuff and just going out and having this like early shopping spree and being excited to find things for people you love, that doesn't happen in a country that has no law. So the next time that you look at defunding or taking law out of the country, understand that the people you're listening to are hoping to God that they lull you to sleep. Because when you wake up in the morning, you ain't going to have nothing. The people that have fed you the defund and the taking away of law, if you so much as listen just a little bit, you may wake up to a country that is upside down. It is because of Sarah and Andrew that you and I get to live in a country where we have free will. It's because of Sarah and Andrew that you and I get to go out and have first world problems of, am I going to get my latte on time? Did they get my order correct? Am I going to, is my Amazon thing at my front door? That is because of Sarah and Andrew. The problems we have in America do not even touch the landscape of the rest of the world because of people like Sarah and Andrew. So you thank your National Guard. You thank the people that protect you. You do not support lawlessness. You do not support anarchy. And please understand, folks, anyone can be manipulated. Anyone can be turned into a weapon. Anyone can become something when they do not have God. God is the only compass to prevent you from the people that present you with things that are wrapped in beautiful boxes that only hold within them grenades. I am appalled by the things that people in America support now. And the only thing that screams to me is that you need God more than ever. So God be with you. God be with your families. God be with the families of the Beckstrom family and the Wolf family. May Andrew have plenty of more days and just be getting started on this earth. And may one of the greatest ones to get their wings today, as if not last night, then today. May the one that got her wings, and may those that got their wings in heaven include Sarah Beckstrom. They're my heroes. The fact that I can sit here and talk in my studio and work for myself and own my own company and not be sitting here worried that somebody's going to break into my house and come and take me away, break into my studio, come and take me away, my place or business or my sanctuary, my home. The fact that I'm on air right now, not afraid that someone is going to shoot me or take me, is because of Sarah and Andrew. So I love you. I love you. I love the Beckstrom family. I love the Wolf family. I will be praying for you all. We prayed for you last night. And God bless to every person who makes the decision that their profession is going to be a profession that is thankless, but also the most important ones on earth. I love you. I appreciate you. I thank you. Rest easy, Sister Sarah in heaven. And rest easy here on earth. And may you have plenty more breaths to take, Mr. Andrew. God bless you all. Now and always, God bless you all. This has been the Top Dog of the Week, proudly presented by the wonderful team at K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. And with that being stated, I want to thank you for being with us on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt. I also want to thank you for being with us on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I also want to thank you all that have downloaded us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, as well as Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Make sure you download, subscribe, follow, hit those notification bells. It's free to do all of those things. And by doing them, you're supporting a show that supports your health, your safety, your happiness. I am not here for me. I am here for God, and I am here in the hopes that I can help somebody somewhere, somehow, every day. Thanks for being with me. And a big time thanks to the team that is with me, that helps this wonderful journey be spent with so many great people. I cannot thank God enough for crossing my paths with Great Lakes Honda City, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Myers Creek, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, with a bunch of Black Friday deals. Go and see them today. 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Your taste buds will thank you. Pizza Man, Game Point Sports Complex, where Lily and I just had some fun. You're going to be seeing that soon. K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare, with the Top Dog of the Week and more. Chick-fil-A DeWitt, Mother's Cupboard, the home of my sandwich. My breakfast sandwich is exclusively at Mother's Cupboard, 3709 James Street in Syracuse, 7 days a week. The Cuse Mac Mother, go and get it today. Bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast. Cut it up and have it with some syrup. Pick it up and eat it like a sandwich. Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., 3709 James Street in Syracuse. Also, a big-time thanks to K-9 Campground Dog Boarding, Brian's Landing, Avicoli's, and of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. Find the Bobcats every month with student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining us here where sports meets life. Go to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell. Find the BSC Syracuse playlist. Support your Bobcats men's and women's basketball teams all throughout their season that's currently going on. And, of course, you could find more by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab for the Bobcats, as well as by going to their main website, syracuse.bscbobcats.com. Go Bobcats. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is an exclusive multimedia marketing partner with your Binghamton University Bearcats. The Bearcats are with us every Tuesday during Bearcat Time. Find your Bearcats student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining us here where sports meets life. And you can find it all by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. They're with us every week, Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And, of course, the archive is on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the Exclusive Partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. The OCC Lasers, Onondaga Community College, they are with us here on Wake Up Call as exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your lasers every other Wednesday. That's bi-monthly. Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, every other Wednesday, with the Lasers here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life, with student athletes, coaches, and administration joining the show to tell their stories. You'll find it all by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, as well as underneath the Exclusive Partners tab. You can also find the Lasers on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our OCC playlist. For more information, go to onondagalazers.com and go Lasers. I want to thank Papa Joe for joining me today. I want to thank Carvel DeWitt for the annoying moment of the week, Chick-fil-A Cicero for lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver, and K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare for the top dog of the week. And, of course, I want to thank Sarah and Andrew's family for two wonderful human beings protecting our world. God bless to you all. Sarah, please sleep sweetly in heaven. Andrew, please sleep sweetly here on earth and get well soon. May you heal completely and for good, and may you heal no matter what through God, and may you handle well whatever comes your way in and out of your control. The same for Sarah's family and for everyone who is in law enforcement, and for everyone out there that is doing evil, committing evil. For the person that did this, my prayers go out to you, that you change and turn your heart to God, that you come back to God or go to God for the first time. So I pray for the perpetrator of this violence. I pray for the perpetrators of anything out there. Because if we want to cease having victims, we must pray to cease having perpetrators first. God bless you all. Have a beautiful day. Happy Black Friday. Thanks for spending it with me. I hope this made your standing in line better. And of course, God bless to you all. No stress. Do your best. Head out to Liverpool. There's a bunch of schools that are all going to be converging for girls and boys basketball today and over this entire weekend for the Zebra Classic. So head out to Liverpool High School. Have a beautiful day. God bless. No stress. Do your best. From the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, you are wonderful. Thanks to Great Lakes Honda City. Check their end of the year deals on greatlakeshondacity.com. And I'll talk with you soon. Happy Thanksgiving again, everybody. God loves you, and I love you too.